No black hats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Welcome to the Parlay Pursuit. It is I, Lukey CK, joined by the Euro Under King, Alex, and my partner in crime, Danny, the Bet Man. We are here off the heels of an exciting weekend, but we are ushering in an even more exciting weekend. UFC 295 is 2 weeks away. We will be breaking that down for you early, top to bottom, main card and prelims, everything New York, everything Madison Square Garden, Yuri Procházka versus Alex Pereira, and a very special new heavyweight interim title fight that we will be breaking down. As you can see, the John Jones autographed picture is at half mast. It is upside down. It is to represent not only John Jones suffering a catastrophic injury and pulling out of his title fight matchup with Stipe Miocic, but it is to represent a world in disarray, a world in chaos. As you can see, Alex, Dan, and I are unified. We are wearing all black today. We are wearing all black. I instructed the boys to do this, and we will get into it. Today is a funeral day. Today is a day of mourning, but also a day of reclamation. We are wearing black for many reasons, and we will get into it, but we are not only doing this out of protest for our man, Francis Ngannou, but we are also doing this to show respect for the funeral that we are at today. We are at the funeral for boxing, everybody. Welcome to the show, Alex.
What can you say? Dan, were you able to watch that fight?
I watched every round. What's your take?
My take is Francis got robbed. Francis got robbed big time. Eddie Hearn thinks the same thing, and it's official today. Boxing is dead. And with boxing being dead, Luke, take us wide. I got to retire something, right? Right here, right now. Since boxing is dead, we got to get rid of this. We're not with the boxing anymore. Maybe even get rid of the heavy bag too while we're at it, because boxing is dead. It's rigged. It doesn't make any sense. It's lame. And I thought I was done with influencer boxing bouts, buying them after the last one that happened. But I think I'm just done with boxing in general. I am not interested in seeing another person box ever again in my life. It's always the same thing. It's always been corrupt. And we saw another demonstration of that this past Saturday, boys.
I'm going to say, before Dan chimes in with his wrong think, with his bad takes, as you guys are accustomed to in the last few months, I don't know what's wrong with him, boys. We'll fix him. We'll fix him. You can let him know in the comments how you feel. But I'm going to chime in and I'm going to say, I agree with you, Alex. I thought it was just the celebrity boxing. I thought after watching Logan Paul and Dylan Dennis phone it in, after all the vitriol they expressed, they're throwing things at each other before the fight, but then they can't even throw a hand during the fight. I felt like that was a money grab, and I said no more influencer boxing, right? But then I realized that was but a symptom of the disease that we must cut out root and stem. This is a funeral, as Alex just took down. The Muhammad Ali poster is down. Tyson Fury is also gone. Bob Arum. Who else, guys? I don't even know enough about boxing.
I don't want to say Bud Crawford. I love Bud Crawford, but what can we do with this?
There's hope for Bud. He can shoot a double. He can shoot a single. He can hit a duck under. Maybe Bud will be able to survive. But the reality is, everybody, we are no longer watching boxing. If we're no longer supporting boxing, if you have a kid in boxing, you pull them out. We must retaliate. Okay. They have done enough to us now. They have taken everything from us. Think about this. It started out with Anderson Silva. It started out with Conor
McGregor.
What?
Conor McGregor.
He said.
It started out with Conor McGregor. It continued with Nate Diaz. It continued with Anderson Silva. And now they have gone too far. Okay. We have been great sports on our side. We have been great sports. We have sent our guys in there old, with no hips, with no shot of winning. And we have allowed them to make money off our backs. We've allowed them to earn clout off our reputations. And now every time we've understood it's winner take all every time. We're pushing all of ours into the center of the table and you're pushing all yours in the center of the table. We've taken our hits every single time. And now it was their turn. It was our turn to take every single chip off that table. And we did. And they refused to own up to the bet. It is equivalent to a friend just simply not paying up when you are owed. And that is what boxing, every time boxing talks, we say
they turned off the Xbox when you were up. They turned off the Xbox as soon as you came back and you're up 7 points in Madden. They turned that thing right off on you.
And shame on Tyson Fury. I mean, him and his father said, "Oh, if Bobby, or what's his name, Tommy Fury, if Tommy Fury, if he wasn't given the nod against KSI, we would have understood that. Okay, now do your fight. Now do your own fight, because it was a hell of a lot less close than your little brother's fight." So, guys, where do we even begin? The commentary team. I mean, all you need to do is watch the clip of Francis Ngannou knocking down Tyson Fury and hear what the commentators are saying. He caught him off guard. He caught him off guard. That's where they were in round 2. By round 10, they were talking about how Francis is doing the impossible. And in between, we heard that, if this fight goes long, it'll be Francis who suffers. But by the end of it, it was, well, Tyson Fury must have not taken this too seriously because he's not even looking good in the later rounds and Francis is looking fine. So I'm sick of this. If you don't take something seriously, that's mental weakness. We all know Tyson Fury is mentally weak. So mental weakness. Keep an eye on him, guys. Keep an eye on him, because we know he's not going to do well with everything that's going to come his way. The Emperor has no clothes. The Emperor wears no clothes. Dan, your turn.
Oh God, where do I even start? Let me start here. Tyson Fury won the fight. I'm wearing black because boxing is indeed dead. This was a sport that got all the people out of their seats, all the people chirping and tweeting and commenting on their own platforms of whatever they will. But it was boring. It was a boring fight. I was more interested in the dinner I was making than the fight itself. I look away from the screen. That's when the knockdown happens. It was not a knockdown, okay? A knockdown is when you connect with someone's chin or their cranium to the point where they lose consciousness temporarily, making them unable to use their legs, and they fall to the ground. He smacked him on the back of the head, pushing him to the ground. It was a big nothing burger. Fury won 7 out of 10 rounds quite easily. It was boring. Fury was not on his game, and Ngannou was pretty much at the best he could possibly do in boxing, which wasn't even all that much. We are declaring this to be the biggest upset in sports that just wasn't declared. It was not. Tyson Fury won. It wasn't interesting. This is not USA versus the Soviets in hockey. It was not a big upset. Nobody should care. And in 2 weeks' time, when UFC 295 happens, nobody will care. And that's all I got to say. Boxing is a bad sport. It's boring. And I was not interested or excited at all.
Well, I mean, listen.
Dan, what you just said, like, if he won 3 out of the 10 rounds, one being a 10-8 because he knocked him down, then it was a very close fight, right? By math.
Because that makes it a 6-4 fight. And then Dan's also saying
he clearly won
3 rounds. So Dan, if you only won 3 rounds, I'm guessing you're saying he won round 2 because he cut him. He won round 3 because he knocked him down. He won, I'm assuming, round 6 or 7 or 8.
Round 8.
Round 8. He outlanded him in round 5 or 6, I believe. There was another round besides those 3 where he outlanded him. I think there might have even been 2 rounds where he outlanded him. So I think it was 5-5, with one of those 5 that Francis won being a 10-8 round. Therefore, I think Francis won the fight by 1 point. I also notoriously grade on a curve. I grade on a curve. That's the same reason anybody thought Alexander Volkanovski won the first fight with Makhachev. It's the same reason anybody thinks, it's not, and put it this way. If every round that was close, and the only rounds where there was a clear winner, Francis Ngannou won, Francis Ngannou wins that fight.
Well, I don't think that was the case. I think Tyson Fury clearly won round 4 and 5. I think he was just outpacing him, outstriking him. Francis looked tired early. Francis got a second wind. But, the breakdown of that bout, I think I took the crown on that one. I said what was going to happen. I said he doesn't have those skinny chicken legs like Deontay Wilder, and he's going to need something the size and shape of an egg weight to put somebody like Francis down. I think Tyson got a little too excited in the beginning. He thought this was going to be a walk in the park, put a lot of energy out there, and his tactics that usually work against boxers who are not used to these clinching situations and are smaller than him in frame and stature, it makes it harder for them to put on the same output later in the fight. We saw with Francis, that's not the case. He's just as big, just as strong as you, and is more experienced with clinching, so you're the one who's going to end up tired. By the end of the fight, Tyson looked like a dead man walking. everybody's sitting here complaining about the third judge. I don't care about the third judge's decision. At least it was a 1-point bout in their decision. The second judge scored it for Tyson by like 4 or 5 points. Nobody's calling that guy to question. And everybody's saying that, the meme is that Dana White was the third judge in the arena that night. But the second judge had it way more egregious for Tyson Fury than the third judge. I thought that they were just going to make it a draw, simply based on the fact that that's what they did with the Deontay Wilder fight. It was kind of a similar fight, except for Deontay Wilder won a lot. Won a lot less rounds. That's what I'm saying. He won a lot less rounds than Francis, and for some reason, that fight is a draw. When this fight, similar things have happened, and at the end of the fight, Francis was going at him. If I told you that a guy was forcing the clinch a ton, shot a double leg takedown, and threw an elbow in this fight, who would you think it was? Francis. It was Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury hit him with an elbow, got dropped, and went in for a double leg takedown. As far as I'm concerned, by the Queensberry's rules, if your fucking knees hit the ground after a punch, whether you're going for a clinch or not, that's a knockdown, my friend. That should have been another 10-8 round. Tyson fell to the floor like a sack of potatoes. Francis Ngannou absolutely destroyed him. I'm done with boxing. Boxing is forever done. I had the most perfect analysis of that fight before the fight happened. And then everything happened before my eyes. And I look at my girl right before they're reading the decision, and I said, they're going to rob Francis. I hate to tell you. Don't be surprised. They're going to rob Francis.
I had a $50 bet on Tyson Fury by decision and a $50 bet on Francis Ngannou money line. Both were plus 700. I thought I couldn't possibly fucking lose because unless it went how everybody said it was going to go, which is Tyson Fury's going to kill Francis inside the first 2 rounds. But I thought, okay, if Francis overperforms, which I believe he will, and if Tyson Fury does what I think he's going to do, which is phone it in, play it safe, not train very hard, and also try to take it into the later rounds, I thought what would happen is it would end up kind of becoming this respect thing, and they would both go to a decision. Tyson would clearly win, but people would go, oh, but Francis hung in there. But no, what actually happened was, I think, dude, if you guys were watching the live odds, this is all I got to say. The live odds were going schizophrenic, okay? The live odds went from Tyson Fury starting out at what, minus 1,600, minus 1,800. At one point or another, Tyson Fury was a plus 120 underdog. Okay. Not only that, but they were locking you from betting on Francis at least me. They were locking me from being able to bet on Francis. They would only allow me to bet on Tyson at like minus 500, but would give me no odds on Francis on DraftKings or on FanDuel for a large majority of the fight. All I want to say is that when the sports books don't know what the fuck's going on, then the fix is in. The fix is, you can almost guarantee it. And what interested me is that the biggest odds you could have gotten on that fight by, just by how the fight plays out would have been Tyson Fury by split decision, plus 22 to plus 2,700, somewhere in that range. That same $100 that I put on Francis by money line or Francis money line and Tyson by decision, I would have won $2,300. But in a million years, I wouldn't have ever assumed that it would be so close that my thinking was, if it was close, they would just give all 3 rounds to Tyson because they're that corrupt, right? But the fact that one judge gave it to Francis means that Francis was the rightful winner because they would have just given it to fucking Tyson if they could have.
I think the sportsbook odds changing was all the minnows of the gambling world coming in and betting on Francis when they see the knockdown come in. Because at that point, like you said, I mean, if Tyson Fury was minus 14, 16, 1,800, what were the plus odds on Ngannou, right? So everyone's trying to get a piece of action in that. It, I mean, this is sports betting. Dan, that don't already know, but
that line.
I don't think the Sharks is what I'm saying. I don't think the Sharks were ever on Ngannou throughout the entire fight because, as Alex said, we could see this coming that, by hook or by crook, Tyson Fury was going to win this fight. Even though I do think he won legitimately, he didn't need the extra help of a crooked boxing association.
You just said you were making dinner and didn't even see the knockdown.
No. Yeah, I was. It was boring, but I was watching. Okay.
I would agree with you, but at one point,
I enjoyed the fight. I really.
I thought it was
boring.
highly entertaining.
So
I thought it was
boring.
highly
I was
entertaining.
blown away when he knocked him down. I thought that. I mean, I was blown away. I was like, "This is amazing." You have no respect, Dan. I mean,
I would rather watch Jake Collier versus give me Chase Sherman.
You know why I wouldn't want to watch that?
UFC fight. That's way more entertaining.
I wouldn't want to watch that because both of those two corn-fed doughboys have been given much more of an opportunity being born in America and have done a lot less with it. Okay, they can't even get themselves in at the shape that Ngannou can get himself into. Think about that. They, with all of the privileges and rights of living in America and having their entire lives to do so, couldn't even get themselves to have a six-pack.
How about the privilege of genetics? How about that privilege?
I don't get into that weird bullshit. What is this guy?
This guy is a bad guy. This is a bad guy.
Go to
Okay?
Switzerland. Why don't you go to Switzerland where they kill all the ugly people or whatever that is?
No, he has good genetics.
Look into it.
Are we the same? Are we all the same? Is everyone the same? Is that
Maybe he's just jacked because he was doing manual labor since he was 5 years old. Maybe that
was his privilege. That was his privilege. Being in the sand mines. It was genetic privilege being in the sand mines.
Oh yeah, I bet you say that if you practice enough, you could be as good as LeBron James at basketball
All I'm
too,
saying
right?
is Chase Sherman.
Steph Curry seemed to do it
in his damn backyard in Alabama. If you wanted to have a dream, okay? He's selling himself short. He's selling his country short. He's selling everybody short because he doesn't want to wake up early.
Steph Curry and LeBron James,
Chase Sherman shouldn't have to catch these strays. Sherman shouldn't have to catch these strays.
And Jake Collier just got cut, so we're really punching down here.
Yeah, that's not it. That's
Jake
not
Collier and
Jared Vandera
and Chase Sherman, they're like, Forrest Gump. You know what I mean?
Yeah, class acts. That's why I said I'd watch him.
No, I'm saying low IQ.
Oh, it's now we're who's the bad guy now? Oh my god! I mean,
that's a plot point in the movie that he ain't that smart. He ain't that bright, but he's a good boy.
Well,
anyway, all we have to do is it's really simple, guys. None of us.
But Luke, you talked about the line moving. You didn't even mention that at one point Tyson Fury was an underdog. Like in the like in the 9th round, 8th round, all that money was flooding in on Francis. I looked at my girl right then and there too, because for some reason in Pennsylvania they did not let you bet on this fucking shit show that they would not even let you look at it. They wouldn't even let you touch it. Dan, did you have that same problem?
I didn't even want to bet on it. It was just
I just wanted to see. I just wanted to take a little peek. Who's to say if I was going to bet on it or not? But I just wanted to take a little tiny peek. I wanted to see what was out there. And I was telling my girl right at that time, I was like, that is so dumb. Everybody should put all of their money on Tyson Fury right now. I was telling her, I was like, if this line was open, all of my money was going to be on Francis Ngannou. And then guess what? This round, when it's a plus 200 Tyson Fury, plus 120, whatever, you can bet like $1,000 on Tyson Fury, and regardless, you're making $2,000 on the night.
Sadly, I will not.
Money line. He was plus 200 money line.
I'm not buying the rematch. I'm not buying the rematch.
Well,
last thing I want to say about the bias on the commentary of this is all the UFC fighters, the Michael Chandlers and the Nate Diaz, the Demetrius Johnson, whoever else, they're all saying
everyone but you.
Just no, hold on. Excuse me. Let me finish my point.
Excuse me. Don't agree on what to have for breakfast.
Excuse me.
Agree on this.
How about this? Okay, all the UFC fighters saying that Francis won. Hey guys, it's a small club. They're all friends. They filmed tire commercials together. They're buddies. Of course, they're going to say that. So,
what about the small?
They're also trying to elevate the UFC. Okay. Notice how none of the heavyweights said anything because they're his competitors. But everyone else who doesn't fight in the heavyweight division in UFC, they're all buddy with him at the Apex. Obviously, they're going to say he won the fight. Who did say he won the fight? Legitimate cowardly.
There's nothing.
Yeah, they did. Eddie Hearn said he won the fight. He said it was
the crooked promoter who you called out as crooked said that
Eddie Hearn is a wanker.
Yeah, exactly.
Eddie Hearn is a wanker. Listen, Eddie Hearn is a wanker. But here's the thing, guys. When you do what the Emperor did in the end of Gladiator to Russell Crowe, when you do what Joaquin Phoenix did to Russell Crowe at the end of Gladiator, you stab him, you poison him, you smack him, you kill his wife, you do everything you can to make him not fight well, and then you send him out there and he still whoops your ass. That's what Francis did. That's what McGregor does. That's what all of our UFC guys are doing. We're walking in because UFC fighters, MMA fighters are the true alphas. Boxers, you've always been soft. It's simple as that. I mean, I had a lot of respect for boxing as like the same way I respect people who can like swim fast. You know what I mean? The same way I respect people who can like, I don't know, with mountain hike, climb up a rock wall, right? Climb up. It's like, oh yeah, you can do this very specific thing. Like it looks cool. Like you can. But once I learned to hit one of these bad boys better than John Jones, better than fucking Vasily Lomachenko, better than Demetrius Johnson, better than Jake Paul. You guys see those videos of John Jones? Yeah. He doesn't even have a tennis ball one. He's got one of these little bitch-ass ones that I got when I was 5 years old. He's got one of these ones, right? That I don't even fucking use anymore. He's got one of those. So I don't care. You take Jake Paul, John Jones, Israel Adesanya, all those idiots who are hitting the little, oh, I got 16. Oh, I got 16. You give me one with a fucking baseball on the end of it, and I'll still be hitting it. You can rotate them all in. Rotate them all in. I'll still be hitting it while they fail out. That's that. I got him.
Luke has broken more of those than anyone I know. He punches them straight off the string. He's not just going for the hand-eye coordination. He's going for power kill shots.
Flying. Jake Paul actually said to Ian Gary or some fucking nothing. He said, or I forget who he said to, but he was
Bo Nickel.
Bo Nickel, yeah, Bo Nickel, not a nothing, but Bo Nickel is now nothing in my mind after saying this. Him and Jake Paul were like, well, you know, guys like us who really know how to use our hands. Do you think this is actually like pertains? And Bo Nickel was like, no, it does pertain. It does pertain. It does pertain. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. It does pertain. So anyway, something coming at you fast, slipping, moving, hitting it, punching it. You guys can't even, none of them can even keep their head up and punch it. They're all like this, like they're cats. When I punch mine, my head's straight up. It's flying past me. My eye line is straight. Everything's perfect about my form. So quite literally, any of them want to step up, sign the fucking agreement, unified rules, whatever you want. I will literally fight anybody who thinks that they're better than me at a boxing ball. I will beat the shit out of them. Bare knuckle. So let's go.
Why don't we put one of the clips? Put one of the clips.
I want Game Bred FC bare knuckle. Game Bred FC bare knuckle any way, any opponent.
No, that's soft. You got to go left way. You got to go straight left way, Luke.
I'll be doing left way myself. I don't need them to fucking legalize the headbutt for me to throw it, bitch. I'll be headbutting the whole day.
That's what I'm saying. I was saying Game Bred FC is too soft.
Game Bred FC, regular MMA, headbutts illegal. I'll be throwing headbutts. They'll be surprised. Powerful element in the art of war. Yeah, I'm so done with this shit. All right. Here's what we got. We got UFC 295. It's a very exciting card. If you're looking for Almeida versus Lewis, UFC Sao Paulo, we already broke it down, top to bottom, main card and prelims. We're going to hop over to the Fine Tooth Comb Club after this to go through it again. Haven't looked at it since the first breakdown. I want to see if anything's changed, any fights have fallen out. If you want to get access to our extra episode where I have a whole lot more to say, patreon.com/PerkPlayPursuit. That's where you can get access to the Fine Tooth Comb Club. That is where we break down every episode we already broke down. Again, with the Fine Tooth Comb, we get nitty gritty. We analyze it to the umpteenth degree, and we let you know if any of our thoughts changed, if our hearts changed, if our minds changed, or if the fights themselves have changed and we need to do a relook. That's where it will be in the Fine Tooth Comb Club. So for now, we'll be doing our first look at UFC 295.
Luke, before that, one last thing for the Francis
we'll get into it. I'm setting the table for the audience.
All right,
we'll break down UFC 295. Main card and prelims. Then we'll hop over to the Patreon, Fine Tooth Comb Club, and redo UFC Sao Paulo yet again. We'll also talk about our personal lives, talk about who else we hate, who else is, pretty much done. What other sports we will no longer be watching, things of that nature. But join us in the Comb Club. Alex, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, before the fight, everybody was saying how Tyson Fury was equating Francis Ngannou's skills and capabilities to that of a table tennis player trying to play somebody like Jokic, Nikola Jokic, the tennis guy.
Yeah.
He was equating it to that. And I just want to say Francis Ngannou proved a lot of people wrong, proved a lot of people on this show wrong. He did amazing. He did sensational. I might buy the rematch, but I know the outcome. If Francis doesn't get him down, I might buy the rematch. But they're talking about him fighting Deontay Wilder.
We can't buy the rematch because we just said we're going to boycott boxing from here to eternity. That has to be their punishment. I know. It's sad because I would watch the rematch. I can't.
I want to support Francis more than anything. I want to
support Francis too, but here's the thing. They need to be punished.
And Francis was public enemy number one. He doubled down on himself, and he proved a lot of people wrong. He did his fucking thing out there, and the work of Francis Ngannou will never be overlooked here again, guys.
Sadly,
Again.
though, the thing is, we can't support when they all went back in the locker room after. The only thing that made this okay.
You're not going to watch him versus Deontay Wilder? You're not going to watch?
No, listen. The only thing that made this okay was the fact that they go, oh, but Francis, imagine how much the bag's going to be in the rematch. So they're all rubbing their little hands. All those old raisin white men that should literally not exist on this planet anymore. Like, they don't have a role. They should be replaced by the blockchain. You know what I mean? They should be replaced by the smart ledger. They should be replaced by smart contracts. You know what I mean? I hate, and when he said, when that guy said, he's like, oh, do you ever get nervous about these? And these Bob Arum was like, I never get nervous because I don't have to lift my fucking fat ass out of bed. I just get to. Guys, you know what to do. You know what I mean? That's fucked up. Never give that man a fucking penny for the rest of his life. I hope the fucking dollar fails so that guy's money fails. That's what I hope. I hope the dollar collapses so Bob Arum is broke for the rest of his fucking life. Because he's got no Bitcoin.
The bright side is we might be able to support him versus Deontay Wilder without supporting any of those guys because I think it might happen in the PFL.
No, we're done. Listen, it's UFC. The only organization who's getting my money is the UFC from here on out. Dana
and redneck fights.
I've bought every pay-per-view. I don't fucking. The only time I've ever gone on one of those websites is when I was in college and I literally wasn't at a fixed location. I'm in a cab on the way to a party and I'm just that dedicated. But other than that, I'm the evangelist. I'm the guy who gets the fights bought. I'm the guy who buys the fight if I'm sitting there by myself. I'm the guy who buys the fight sitting in a lobby in Costa Rica with a VPN. I'm that guy who supports the UFC.
You're probably going to watch it free in Costa Rica without a VPN.
Listen, I'm just saying, I support the UFC, and that's all I have time and money for right now. That's all I have time and money for, and it's all that I trust. And honestly, once Dana White's out, I probably won't even have that. I probably won't even fucking have that anymore. So
the NFL is gone too. The NFL
is dead. The NFL is dead. The NFL is so dead. Oh my God. It stinks too. Cause I quit the NFL a long time ago. I quit the NFL many years ago and I said, fuck the NFL. All of you guys are third graders with your fantasy football teams, with your wasteful Sundays, with your drunkenness. So I got a lot done in a year. You know what else happened? Eagles won the Super Bowl. Didn't miss a thing. My favorite team won the Super Bowl. Didn't miss a thing. Didn't give a fuck. You know why? Because it's a woozy. It's a whatsy. It's a fugazi. It's who cares? You know? So I came back when I had a child. I said, all right, we got to be a football family. We got to be American. We got to be participating in the culture. I'm like, we're a football family, you know? I regret buying the YouTube TV subscription. I regret it. The commercials are terrible. There's horror commercials all over the broadcast. It's nothing but horror commercials. I don't want that Satan shit in my house. So I'm done.
We got to start petitioning to get those off of television.
Do you have any other redress for the NFL besides the horror commercials?
The refs are constantly getting involved in the game again, back to just old white men trying to rob people of their birthrights, trying to rob people of their hard work and their athleticism on the field. It's more whistleblowing hall monitors keeping great men from achieving their destiny. You know what I mean? It's crabs in a bucket. It's fixed. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like I saw an interview back when Pat Sajak was hosting a talk show. Remember him? Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah, Wheel of Fortune.
He was hosting a talk show. So this is pre-Wheel of Fortune days. And some guy's coming on and goes, yeah, I mean, like I proved that the NFL is fixing games and I can prove it. And it's like, this has been old news. And now we think that, I mean, does anybody think about this, guys? You're supporting Roger Goodell and his decision-making and his legacy. If we all just stop watching entirely, turn it off, they'll come crawling the fuck back, or the XFL succeeds, and then we have something new to watch. But
they don't need us anymore, Luke. They got all the Swifties. All the Swifties are watching football.
Okay. My final point, and I'll make myself big for this one. My last petition to you people, you fine people in the audience. My last petition, okay? How many of you grew up, your mom took you to Pizza Hut? Put my hand up. How many of you really enjoyed that? How many of you went to Pizza Hut in your adult life and thought, oh man, I just remember it better because I was a kid. It's not that good, but it was never that good. You would be wrong. You would be wrong to think that because it was better then, and it is worse now. Every brand, essentially, especially the ones under Yum Brands, has gotten worse. Why? They're beholden to shareholders. They need to increase profits, reduce costs, and sell more year over year over year, and they're going to do that no matter. Even if the Big Mac was already perfect, even if the personal pan was already perfect, the salad bar Even if it was all already perfect, they still need to try to get more money out of you. So what are they going to do? Charge more? Well, they're going to have to charge more because of inflation. You guys hear about inflation? They're going to have to charge more. So charging more isn't enough. They also have to reduce what they're giving you. So that's happened with Taco Bell. That's happened with Wendy's. Happened with everything that you loved. They've stolen and they've reduced and they've given it back to you and convinced you you're crazy. That's gaslighting. That's not okay. The NFL is publicly traded, guys. Tick, 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 tick on the New York Stock Exchange. So the NASDAQ, one of them, the S&P 500. I don't fucking know. But I'm just saying the NFL is not beholden to you or me. It's not beholden to the players. It's beholden to the shareholders, the owners, and the mafia who controls the sports books. So with all the sports, at least in the UFC, if some guy, wants to participate in fraudulent behavior, I know he's getting hurt physically. And I can live with that.
I agree with many of those points. I'm down with that. Just don't know how to pivot to UFC 295.
We have to be more willing to throw brands away and not have nostalgia hold on to us, right? So, we have to just be willing to say, okay, 1, 2, 3, no more McDonald's, and then let it die. And let a new
as Luke is buying dozens and dozens of packs of Pokemon cards a week.
No, I'm not.
He's addicted. He is now addicted to Pokemon.
Give me the pack of the day. Give me the pack of the day.
I pulled another fucking scissor. I'm sick of getting. I pulled a scissor on the virtual pack.
Oh my god!
I've got 4 scissors. I bought 4 packs.
I don't. Are the virtual packs different than the one you get in real life?
They're the same amount of cards, but they're digital. And I got a scissor there too. And yes, they are different. They're not the same cards that you get in the pack.
Okay. Yeah,
they hunted with scissors.
I don't know. And then I'm also confused. I get a card that I think is really good. I'm like, yo, this one looks sick. And then it's not. I'm like, I don't even know what's what anymore. So I'm going to wait until I have a lot of money. And then I'm just going to go buy the cards I want. You know what I mean? The specifics, my Joe Solecki PSA grade 10. By the way, formal apology to Joe Solecki. I shouldn't have. I know having your number is a privilege. I should not have texted you after the Ngannou fight and said that we need to rally, we need to boycott, we need to organize. I should not have done that. I was emotional. I was a little bit emotional. I texted everybody. Former apology to Clint. I did message Clint.
It was good while it lasted.
Our only ally in this world is Joe Solecki.
I think we're good. I think he didn't think it was too weird, but I was really upset. I was distraught. And I'm an empath, guys. I'm an empath, so I feel emotions that other people around me and people that I set my gaze upon, I feel what they're feeling.
How many texts did you send him without him in?
He answered.
Okay.
But it's what am I going to do, guys? Sometimes, I wasn't mad about perceived gains or losses. I was mad about the death of truth. And I think it really was the straw that broke the camel's back, because over the last 3-4 years, we've dealt with the death of truth a lot here, guys, right? So the black is also, and the John Jones of it's to represent the death of truth, because it's lies everywhere you go. We live in a currency of lies. We live in a utopia of lies. Everything is lies. And if you're a man of truth, a man of God, and a man who really just is an optimist, then you should be mourning today. You should be mourning today that money and greed and corruption and the patriarchy and the white devil men who control boxing, they got in the way of truth. And they stole something from Francis Ngannou. And a lot's been stolen from him in his life. And throw that on top of the pile, because everyone is trying to rob Francis. Everyone's trying to bring him down, pull him down. Hey, when you point a finger, 3 are pointing right back at you. I said Francis was an idiot for leaving the UFC.
Me
take
too.
it back, Francis. You're a made man. Anyone, for what Francis did, in the eyes of the show, he is a made man. Okay?
And they can never rob his genetics. They can never rob him of that.
I don't make the rules. Jake Paul, he's not a made man, but he's a white hat now. We consider Jake Paul a white hat. He's a friend of the show now. Francis Ngannou, he's above a white hat. He's a made man. You don't get to speak ill of Francis anymore. Boxing is now, you're not allowed to watch boxing and this show. So those are the new 3 rules. Take it or leave it. I'm not saying the boycott can't come to an end someday, but it's going to take a lot. And I'm not saying you can't watch the rematch. You just can't buy it. You have to go somewhere else. If you go to a bar, you're allowed to patronize that bar. But at the end of the night, you tell them I'm not paying for my wings. You say take this off my bill. Okay.
Or have him take the fight off the TV. Luke is really trying to make some beer hall pushes here. I want you guys to be completely sane and pay your bills. Everything. This is all Luke. Put up the disclaimer. This is all just for shits and giggles. We are entertainment purposes only.
Don't tip the bartender. That's legal. You don't have to tip your bartender. That's perfectly legal.
No,
and
no,
a good protest.
Tip your bartender. That's a single mom who works 2 jobs. And
right. On the tip for the bartender, say, never leave it in the hands of the judges.
That's great. That is excellent.
You used to write, don't bet on horse races. Now you can just write, don't bet on boxing.
The best take on the night was I think you might have sent me the tweet. The guy was like, "Oh, a shame Francis pulled in his $20 million, but it's a real shame he didn't get that 50K performance of the night bonus." Because he really put it out there, man.
You put it all on the line.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, with that, we got UFC 295 to break down, everybody. Leave a comment if you agree, if you disagree. I want to know what you think, and I want to see solidarity. I want to see everybody just at least injecting a little bit of punishment. The Usyk fight will not be watched. We will not be watching.
Oh, no way. No way.
We don't watch silver fight bronze. You know what I mean? All right.
And also leave a comment. Next episode, I will be going sober. Let me know if I should not be going sober. Let me know if I add more entertainment value to the show by drinking on the show. And let me know if I should get back on the wagon or off the wagon. I never know what that means. But yes, I will be chasing the dragon soon. I will not be doing any drugs at all. I'm not just going to be California sober. I'm going to be straight up sober. No weed, no beers. And no vapes, baby.
I love it. I love it. I think that's powerful. I appreciate
it's a public proclamation. Now I have to do it, or I could just be like Luke and be like, I'm sober, and then the next episode you're like, I'm back, I'm back to drinking again.
We're also coming up on November, so no nut.
No, I will be nutting a lot. I will be nutting more than I'd like to admit.
Dude, this is vulgar. I don't want to hear this. Dude. I do not want to hear this.
We can't get rid of all of our addictions at once.
Well, don't be addicted to anything, guys, and make sure to self-check if you're addicted. Just do a self-check. It's just like a breast exam. You just got to check in with yourself, say, am I addicted? Figure it out. And
how much money did I put into DraftKings this month? How much did I pull out? Always do that. 1-800-GAMBLER, NY-HOPE, or wherever, whatever the fuck your county's gambling hotline is.
And with that, we are not without UFC this weekend. We got UFC Sao Paulo. It's a free fight night. It's taking place in Brazil. We already broke it down. Go take a look at that episode. Give it a like. Give it a comment. But for now, let's get into an early card because there's some underdogs I really like on this, and I expect the lines to move. So let's give our audience the early glimpse. Let's come in and be extra specially studied for the fight that is happening at Madison Square Garden on 11/11. Make a wish. I know what mine will be. 11/11. Yuri Procházka taking on Alex Pereira for the vacant light heavyweight championship. And then we also have Sergey Pavlovich and Tom Aspinall taking on each other for the interim heavyweight championship. But we're going to warm up to that, and we're going to start at the bottom. No, we're not. We can't do that. We're going to start at the top. Yuri Procházka. Having some burps, guys. Can somebody fill in? Yuri Procházka taking on Alex Pereira. The Czech Republic-born Yuri Procházka is 31 years old. He has not fought in a year and 4 months. Some might say that's a long time. Some might say that given the nature of his injury, it's too soon for a return. He is 6'3" with an 80-inch reach, taking on the 6'4" with an 80-inch reach. Alex Pereira coming up to light heavyweight for the second time since his knockout loss to Israel Adesanya for his middleweight championship belt that he took off the aforementioned Adesanya just a few months prior. He will be 5 years older than Yuri. And he is going to enter this fight off of that 3-round split decision win against Jan Blachowicz, a fight that I did fall asleep for. I did bet Pereira at underdog odds, but I did fall asleep for it. Was happy to get the win, but when I woke up in the third round, Pereira was on his back. And I didn't know what had happened. I'll have to go back and watch that fight, but from what I hear, it was close. it was a split decision. And I just think that if you put Jan in there with Yuri, Jan's not making it out alive. I also want to say that I think Yuri is a lot better than people think, and people think he's pretty damn good. If you really want to know the juice on Yuri Procházka, look at King Mo Luwal talking about Yuri to Chael Sonnen on Chael Sonnen's YouTube channel. They are at a diner. They're talking about him, and King Mo really believes Yuri is something special. The big question mark here is the injury that he's coming off of, the shoulder injury. How was he able to train? How was his rehab process? Is he even ready? We know he's one of those guys who just will push through, will try to fight on. He's only got 3 losses. One of those losses, I believe, was in a tournament. If I look, no, sorry. One loss was to King Mo that he did avenge. One loss was to Abdul Karim Adalov, his 7th fight. And one loss.
But Luke, that fight that he lost to King Mo in, sorry to interrupt, was on the same day as the fight that he beat with Vadim Nemkov.
Yes. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, wait, but I couldn't remember if that was him or if that was Chris Curtis. I think it was both of them. So yeah, but King Mo, yeah. So then, but he's got wins over Ozdemir, Fabio Maldonado. He avenged the win over King Mo, and then was able to beat Glover for the title, beat Dominic Reyes with that spinning back elbow. So I'm going with Yuri Procházka as an underdog to get his 4th UFC win and his 30th career win and his first UFC, his reclaim his UFC light heavyweight title. Yuri Procházka, it's obvious to me. That being said, he's a wild man coming off an injury who does take hits from time to time, and Alex Pereira is happy to oblige if you're happy to take a hit from him. So anything can happen. It's tough, but I like the youth factor on Procházka's side. I like the experience factor on Procházka's side. I like the speed. I like that Pereira is going to give him the fight he wants for the most part, but should it get hairy, Yuri could be the one to take it in another direction if need be. Give me Yuri. Love the odds. Yuri all day.
I'm going to have to disagree with this, although I don't fault you for your logic. I like Alex Pereira here. I just like the fact that his striking is a little bit more educated, a little bit more clean. And as Luke said, I mean, coming off that shoulder injuries are no joke, especially in the world of striking. I feel like that's going to have a huge difference in his game. I can't trust someone coming off of an injury as significant as it was. I mean, how did Dana White describe it? Like the worst shoulder injury that the UFC has ever experienced or something crazy like that. So I got that. And then on this side, I got Alex Pereira, who seems to be getting better, just leaps and bounds in the world of MMA, right? Training with Glover Teixeira. He had a very nice tune-up fight with Jan Blachowicz as far as getting that experience with the ground game. And again, just a super educated fighter. This is a guy who's teaching Sean Strickland how to strike. Like, hey, this is how I got you. This is how you could do better. Next thing we know, Sean Strickland's a UFC champ beating Israel Adesanya. So I just like everything about Pereira's game, and I think he's getting better by the fight. So give me Alex Pereira in this matchup.
Love everything you said, Dan. I think a large part of Sean Strickland's success is also Eric Nisick, who was also in the corner of one Francis Ngannou last weekend, who also did a world-beating performance. He's probably going to win Coach of the Year at this point. But I got to agree with a lot of what she said. I'm going with Alex Pereira here, and this is the first ever of this segment. Dan, I'm going to let you take the mic for a second. I'm not going to be able to hear you, but I'm going to show you something on the heavy bag real quick.
Okay.
Just a little something.
All right. It looks like boxing isn't dead quite yet.
Alex Pereira, orthodox stance. A lot of his knockouts come from a check hook, right? If you look back at any of Yuri Procházka's fights, he kind of like ducks in and leaves himself so susceptible to that strike. You give that to Alex Pereira, you serve it up to him on a platter like that. Yuri Procházka is a wild man, and anything can happen in this fight, and either man can go down, as we've seen from Poatan getting knocked out by Israel Adesanya just 2 fights ago. Anything can happen here, but you got to look at the tape. You got to see what Yuri Procházka does wrong and what Alex Poatan does right. Alex Pereira is going to absolutely floor him with a lead left hook, check hook, right to the head.
Luke is doing some clip art.
Sorry. Man, it looked good on my screen. Did you see what I was highlighting? It was him throwing his left and leaving his side completely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he leaves himself open and he switches stances a lot too. So even if he's in that, like in that stance, it doesn't make as much sense, but he's always switching, always throwing unorthodox stuff, and he's leaving this top of the cranium open quite a bit. And I think it was Dominic Reyes who actually kind of shook him with like a lead hook to the jaw and like shook him up a bit, and then he got right back to it. I believe that was a pretty close fight until the finish, correct?
Yeah, it was wild. It was back and forth. I mean, obviously, Yuri took over at a certain point, but for a little bit of time there, yeah.
And Glover was beating him for a great portion of that fight, but you know, Glover's Glover. He's old. He didn't hold up over the 5 rounds like we would have wanted him to. I scored that for Glover until he got finished. He if he lasted that last 28 seconds, I think his hand gets raised at the end of the night. The other guy he beat in the UFC, Volkan Oezdemir, who has had a bit of a resurgence, but he caught him on that like 7-fight knockout losing streak that Volkan Oezdemir went on. And then CB Dalloway and Muhammad Lawal, who are 2 guys who are old, who never fought for a title in the UFC. Yes, they have some credibility to their name. But Luke, even when Muhammad Lawal fought Gregor Mousasi to win the title in Strikeforce, we thought that Mousasi won that fight off of his back strikes alone, hitting with the elbow off the back.
I mean, that was the Sharapova pirate guy. That fight was that. You know what I mean? Like he was on his back whooping ass and actually got nodded the decision as a result. The only difference was Gegard was on his back like the whole fight. You know what I mean? But landing strikes, and Mo was burying his head in his chest and not punching and not doing it.
If you took the new criteria,
if it's how I remember it, maybe I was just young, but I'm like,
I think he cut King Mo up quite a bit during that fight too. I think if you looked at that again and judged it on the new criteria, that Gregor might have got his hand raised that night, if I remember correctly. But I watched, Strikeforce as an 8th grade boy, so I didn't necessarily know as much as I knew, but I thought Gregor Mousasi won the fight that night.
I mean, let me show you real quick. Yeah. Let me share my screen real quick. Hold on. This is King Mo after the fight. Check this out. Ready? Present. Share screen. King Mo versus Mousasi. Share. This is his big ass swollen eye.
Yeah. And Mousasi had taken no damage whatsoever, but he spent, 22 minutes of the fight, 19
I mean, if you
minutes.
look at there's a picture can say 1,000 words. If you look at this picture, it's like, okay, well, that's a good pick. But I'm saying, like, for the most part, it was a lot of him using this. Like, I don't think that might not. This might just. I don't even know if this punch landed. If you think about it, because look how he has his knees. Look at the distance he's keeping between him and King Mo. You know what I mean? The way, and that was like, and even like here, like big time story of the fight kind of stuff. But anyway, let's move on.
You can tell that fight happened so long ago because the pictures are not that good. They're not as good as they are now.
Well, it's also just like the first Google search. Like it doesn't really know what I want. It's not ChatGPT. All right. So co-main event, UFC. We're split, guys. I'm on an island by myself with Yuri. And here's what I want to say just to cap it off, like to kind of agree with you guys. It's an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object in a lot of ways. This is a fight that's hard to really predict what's going to happen because they're both so good. They're both so dangerous. But, with Pereira coming off the Izzy knockout and with Procházka coming off of the shoulder injury, it's really, really difficult to know who's going to be more compromised from the prior,
But if we're going off of most recent knockout loss, wouldn't you, call into question that King Mo knocked him out, when King Mo was, 43 years old or something like that?
No. That was so long. Listen, and then I'm talking about
after King Mo also had to fight a fight that night as an older man than him, and
we're not talking about that. I'm saying all things considered with who they are as people now, the intangibles are the intangibles, and that's what keeps you guessing about this fight.
I agree.
I think that Yuri's dumb enough to not take Alex seriously enough and to think that he is just unstoppable and think that he's a god and think that he's a samurai and just go right after him and just like be stupid. I think Pereira is a smarter fighter. And I think Pereira isn't going to make as like, see, as I'm saying this, it's like, well, the fighter who doesn't make the mistake is the fighter who fucking wins, Luke. And it's like, yeah, that is true.
They're both going to make mistakes, though. That's what makes this such a clusterfuck of a fight. Like, Alex Pereira leaves himself open because he thinks his strength and power and speed is so undeniable that he will leave himself open, as we saw with the Israel Adesanya fight. But Yuri is just like a completely different type of fighter who also leaves himself open going for the craziest shit. In that aspect, when they're going for the kill, they both leave themselves pretty open. But I think Yuri opens himself up to a lot of different things. And if Potan puts together a good training camp with Glover Teixeira, one of the greatest fighters to ever live and personal friend of mine, if they put together a good camp where they're like, listen, just focus on your striking fundamentals, focus on your wrestling fundamentals. This guy is going to be throwing a lot of crazy shit. He will leave openings. Do the right thing instead of taking a Tyson Fury approach, trying to run through the guy and leaving yourself very vulnerable and costing yourself the fight.
All right, co-main event time. Sergey Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall.
Disappointing.
Yeah, the flag at half mast. I mean, it's. I'm disappointed, but I'm also kind of happy because I now don't have to say goodbye to John Jones on November 11th. You know what I mean? It's like I prolong a breakup. I prolong,
That would be the second most.
You don't have to put your dog down. The vet says, you know what? He should be good for a few more years. Like, oh, thank God. You know what I mean? It's like
if John Jones goes down on November 11th, that'd be the second most significant 11th that I know, and it's close with the first one.
Yeah, I mean, and both in New York.
And both in New York. Jeez,
you're not gonna put him away for that comment? Oh
no,
my gosh.
dude, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Oh my God.
Hey, Dan. I don't really think we know what happened with 9/11. I think we're still kind of looking into that, and I agree with.
I was actually talking about my birthday, October 11th, but
I agree with our former president and so many architects and engineers and so many former naval officers and military generals. When I say I don't really know what happened on September 11th, I was in first grade, and they dressed me up like a fireman and had me sing "Proud to Be an American" by Lee Greenwood on the stage. And guess what? I'm traumatized. And I was possibly brainwashed and MK Ultra'd into being a patriot. So forgive me, everybody. I know not what I do. They could say the magic word. I could snap into some patriotic rant. At the sound of my activation phrase, I could start talking patriotically. That's not my problem or my fault. I was a child. They put me on the stage. They dressed me up like a fireman. They made me sing Lee Greenwood's "Proud to Be American." Okay? So I don't know what way is up or down. I hope you can sift through the ashes and understand the symbolism of what we're all doing here today. Because if you don't get it, there's other channels for you. But if you like what we're doing here, you found the right place, you're speaking our language, join the Discord, join the Patreon, join the Fine Tooth Comb Club, and let's have a party. And let's
what a great analogy, sifting through the ashes to find the truth, Sift through those damn ashes.
You will not find concrete and steel fused by jet fuel. You will not find that here.
And if that does happen, you won't find some perfectly unscathed passports also. If that can happen, then you're not going to be finding passports just laying around. But this is Patreon talk. This is Comb Club talk. We probably shouldn't get much into it.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to move on. It's Sergey Pavlovich. I mean, guys, this is the same movie we watched 2 weeks ago, okay? This is Islam Makhachev versus Volkanovski all over again, lads. And it's funny because Tom Aspinall came out and said, I'm going to pull a Bisping. Tommy, you're pulling a Volk. You're pulling a Volk. And you couldn't even learn from what you just saw. We just showed it to you.
Read that thing. Both of these guys knew they were matched up for each other for a long time. They've both been training for each other. Read the thing that you said you would read on the show. The Tapology commenter.
Let me pull it up while you guys give your opinions first. I'll finish with that.
All right, perfect. I am not strong on any opinion in this fight. We saw Sergey Pavlovich get, I believe, when he fought Alistair Overeem kind of like took him down, manhandled him, and finished him with ground and pound. Not sure if he knocked him down on the feet first, but if I remember correctly, this might be like when Alistair Overeem maybe started training with Curtis Blades, that could have been after, but Alistair Overeem is a beast everywhere all the time. Tom Aspinall has some suffocating wrestling, and I really think that the main play on this fight, and call me crazy, is the over. Because think about it. This is one of these fights where everybody's like, this doesn't see past 2.5 minutes into the first round. Where's the over-under set? What are the odds on that over-under? Because I want to dig my paws into it. I would love to dig my paws into this. These guys have an average of 2 minutes and 30 seconds in each fight. Like, on average, their fights last 2 minutes and 30 seconds. What's that mean? Two guys who were like that before, Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis, you know what that meant? A 3-round snooze fest. For this fight, I think they're both going to come in pretty calculated. I think Sergey Pavlovich is relatively, I don't want to say untested. He's fought some great guys, and he's a great fighter. And Tom Aspinall is as well. I think these are two young guys running at each other, and it will be a collision. But I do think the over is the best play on this fight. Gun to my head, probably take Pavlovich. Do you have a line on this, Dan?
I don't. I'll pull it up.
But you know, I kind of favor the dog here regardless. I think Tom Aspinall has the capabilities to take Sergey Pavlovich down and choke him out. I also think Sergey Pavlovich has the capabilities to keep this on the feet and knock Tom Aspinall out. We haven't really seen much of Sergey Pavlovich's wrestling. He could be one of these Dagestani guys who likes to throw spinning back kicks, yada, 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 all that fun stuff. Dan?
Yeah, we got Pavlovich at plus 110, Aspinall minus 130.
Yeah, so I guess I'm good. I said I was leaning Pavlovich, but I thought that Aspinall would be a dog here. So I'm going to go with Pavlovich just because I felt like Aspinall should have been dog from the start. I feel like the over-under should be somewhere like over 1 round. They're probably going to make it 1.5 just to fucking tickle my balls. But I'm going to hammer the over in this fight. I would love it to be half a round.
No game line set quite yet, at least not on DK.
I mean, Dan, if these guys are averaging 2.5 minutes on a fight, how is it fair for you to put it at 1.5? You got to put this at a half of a round, and I'm hammering that over. I'm putting an irresponsible amount of money on that over. If it's a half of a round, oh my gosh. Ugh.
Godspeed to you. That's a zig when everyone else is zagging, so I don't hate it. Do not hate it. As for the pick, it looks like we are Triple P certifying Sergey Pavlovich. I mean, our last fight, I talked about the more educated striker who's a little bit cleaner, and that's my reason why he's going to win. This fight, we got Tom Aspinall, the more educated striker who's a little cleaner, but I don't think he's going to win. This is one of those fights where you really got to – it's a gut feeling fight. You got a guy in Pavlovich who – unlike Yuri, has a lot more of a death touch. Okay, we're coming off of 6 straight first-round knockouts. Aspinall, I believe, is a slow starter, and that X factor alone is going to be a probably the deciding thing that's going on here, right? Aspinall knocked out in the first round. Hopefully, it's over half a round for Alex, but man, Pavlovich seems to be the real deal here. There's no denying that right hand. So. Pavlovich should throw in a bad spot. It's going to be lights out.
Pavlovich should throw the strongest leg kick right off of the rip. Just tear that ACL again. Fucking show him who's boss. I
also don't think Aspinall is like a great wrestler. I mean, I think he's like good for like heavyweight.
He's good for heavyweight. Yeah.
He's like, all right, he's all right.
Guys, I hate the UK. I hate England. You might think like I have some kind of allegiance with them. No, it's not like that here in America. I know we have a lot of international fans. I despise the UK and England, and we broke free. Or a lot of people don't understand. We have Australian fans, we have fans from all over the world. A lot of people don't understand. Americans will always have a feud and a vendetta against England because of the fact that we broke away from them and came to America, right? So England really rallies around their fighters, and like I think that they've gotten disappointed a lot. And like the cases that they had, like Michael Bisping, it's like they have these inspiring tales, but they don't have dominance. You know what I mean? And they really think Tom Aspinall could be this, or they thought could be this dominance. You know what I mean? Not like Darren Till, not like Michael Bisping. Tom Aspinall was undefeated, right? Until Blades, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so, and then he goes out there against Blades, and now they're writing that off as just like a freak accident. Guys, what that was the fact that people born in England just aren't hearty like us Americans. You know what I mean? They're not hearty. They stayed. We broke away. We got a rind on us. We got a little bit of a beard on our snout. We got a little bit of a tusk. You know what I mean? We're wild hogs, and they're fat piggies. Tom Aspinall's a fat piggy, like Molly McCann's a fat piggy, like Patty Batty's a fat piggy, like Darren Till's a fat piggy, okay? You can put new teeth on a pig. They're still pigs. Shout out to Tom for not changing his crooked smile. I appreciate that, J. Cole, but here's the thing. You're a fool. This was arrogance, not bravery, that got you into this. You are literally living a biblical style error, Tommy. The Big Apple. Here's his biblical history lesson, everybody. Why is New York City called the Big Apple? I never knew this until I moved there. It is called the Big Apple. It is a reference to the Garden of Eden. It is a reference to Eve and Adam biting from the apple of the tree of knowledge so they could gain unscrupulous rewards, right? And people go to New York City to take a bite of the Big Apple because they want to seek more than they have. They want to seek adventure and fortune and riches and fame. And that is exactly what Mr. Aspinall is doing. And that is exactly why he will be punished by God, by the fight gods, the gods of old, new, the Muslim gods, the Islamic gods, of course, will be playing a role in this because Sergey Pavlovich is a part of Eagles MMA. And Eagles MMA is what, folks? Father's plan. Okay, so Father's plan will continue to unfold and be fulfilled. Alhamdulillah.
All right.
Well, I have to read the thing Alex wanted me to read. So this was on Tapology. Alex said, Luke, I thought this was you posting. This guy's name's ERIX424. Shout out to ERIX424. Here's your moment of fame. I'm reading your comment live for everybody. He said, people, the John Jones versus Stipe fight. That fight was never happening in the first place. Don't let them fool you. Pav and Tom have been training. Let's be real. Nobody wants old Stipe and Aspinall. Already said Pav is the most dangerous in the UFC. Aspinall did not say Jones is the most dangerous because we all know damn well John Jones will get demolished by Pavlovich and most likely lose to Aspinall. Me and Aspinall both know Pav is the most dangerous. Aspinall said it himself. I can't make this up. Now, the world is about to know that Pav is the most dangerous. Ngannou doesn't stand a chance, so let's break down this Pav fight for the rookies. First and foremost, this fight will end quick with Pav winning. The only possible way this can go to decision or even last 2+ rounds is if Tom controls the fight. ... Now, how will Tom control the fight? Will he go for takedowns and waste all his energy, or will he try to stand and go blow for blow with Pav like he did, like Curtis? Curtis tried takedowns, and we all see how that went. I don't know why you think it's different for Tommy Boy. If Aspinall can't take down Pav and also hold him down as well as taking him down, then Aspinall will 100,000,000,000% lose this fight quick. Ask yourself, how are you going to take down Pav and hold him down? Maybe any other fighter, Tom, can do it, but Pavlovich is not happening. These Russians have been killing the UFC, and Pav needs to show he is the true Russian heavyweight king. He has so much to prove. Nobody can touch Pav. I purchased ringside tickets for UFC 295 at MSG. I am Pav's biggest fan, and if he wins this fight, I'm going to buy him a car. Pav is going to show how a true heavyweight king looks, fights, and acts. Not those bums Ngannou, Jones, or Stipe. They all washed as fuck. Goddamn. Keep an eye out on the broadcast for that guy. Eric's, we're going to be watching you for the broadcast. If you throw a P up, throw a couple P's up, and for the shout out. I mean, during the broadcast, I want to see them P's up. Thank you, Eric's, for that wonderful breakdown. I don't think I need to say anything else.
Dude, I forgot I turned my camera off. I was like waving at the screen, like, when is Luke going to bring me back into this? But yes, although he is a white belt on Tapology, that is his first one. The dead giveaway that it wasn't Luke was that he has ringside tickets and can afford a car for somebody.
I would still get drunk online and say that.
Top G.
I love that Pavlovich has a biggest fan. I love that he'll be in attendance. Doesn't sound like he's Russian.
I don't know. He
Your
did.
guesses, not the first three wouldn't be Russian as to where that guy's from.
I don't know. The he put apostrophes where he should have put commas, which really threw you off there.
The long, drawn-out words and the all caps, that can't have been through a translator, is what I'm saying. Like, you can't translate quick with 17 Ks at the end, you know? So, so it had to have been authentic and original. He's from America. This guy's Sergey Pavlovich, #1 fan. You can come on the show whenever you want, Eric. You're welcome on the show.
Well, we're gonna have to screen you first. We're gonna have to
screen shit. I don't give a. I'll just not.
I'll
just not air the episode. It won't be the first time I've had to not air an episode of a guest. It won't even be the second. Anyway, so it's Sergey. It's Sergey all day. Tom is gonna break in half. He's gonna get destroyed. He's gonna get knocked out. Alex, you're wrong. This is not going longer than one round. Neither of them have been longer than one round. And Aspinall's not even traded. He won't even be physically able to go more than one round with
Luke.
Sergey Pavlovich because he's not trained or prepared.
Luke, yeah, I was talking to somebody in London today, and you know what they said? That's mental. You're going mental, Luke. You're going mental right now. Do not count this out just because.
I'm having a laugh at that, bruv. I'm having a laugh at that.
Luke, did you hear me say that Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis both were knockout artists? Everybody said this doesn't last more than one round. This lasts more than one round. This lasts more than one round. I'm telling you.
Can't always go back to the one fight. Listen, I agree with you in certain capacities, but I mean,
every fight that we think is bang bang fire show, as Triple G would say, or what was it? Big drama show. Everything you think is going to be a big drama show ends up being a snooze fest, and you know it. And if both these guys are coming off the couch, which
we're not, Sergey was the registered backup. He was going to fill in if Jones or Stipe got COVID or missed weight.
Eric was on top of this. Both of these guys knew that everybody knew that Stipe and John weren't fighting. The same reason I didn't buy ringside tickets. If I bought ringside tickets, believe me, if John Jones had dropped off this fight, I would have not paid a dime of that. I would have been like, no. I'll see you at will call. That's where I'll pay for them. I'll pay for them at will call. Don't worry about it.
Let me say this. I heard Jared Gordon paid like $25,000 to get his family tickets for this event or whatever.
His whole purse.
In a million years would not do that for my family. I would not. I would find that if they said yes to that, I would disown them. I'd say, you are selfish. You are so selfish. Like, think about that. He's the one fighting. He's the one whose job it is. He's the one who's working at work. You say, we want to support you. Okay.
And he's getting 25 to win, 25 to show.
You know how you support him? You fucking buy tickets to the company he works for's event, giving the company he works for money, making him more successful, and leaving him the fuck alone so he can win.
Which brings us to our Comb Club ad. Patreon.com/perfectparlaypursuit. Join and support the boys. Support Patreon too, I guess. But
yes, if you have $100, give it to us. You'll get a full year, and that's a 16% discount from the monthly rate. So if you're in there for the month to month, it's Patreon is eating us away with those fees and taxes on the monthly rate. The month is just to let the fucking comfortable people who just want to just like they're just never going to be year people. They just don't like commitment. That's who that's for. The people who just are logical and think with their brains and know how to make sense of things, and also understand that $100 over the course of a year is literally like petty cash. It's literally like it's a woozy, it's a whatsy, it's a fugazi. It doesn't matter.
And guys, that price could go up. So
I can almost guarantee it will go up. I can almost guarantee it will.
You'd foolish not to subscribe to the Patreon now.
It should have already gone up. To be honest with you, the prices have been fixed since we started this Patreon, and inflation has been destroying us. It should have already gone up, but we're not in it to make money. We're in it to assimilate a giant pile of cash that we can then use to fund our journey to internet. All right, Luke and I are both grandfathered members to a Patreon that recently bumped their prices up within the last year or two. We've been grandfathered members, so we still get their podcast month to month for $1.
Which one?
$1.99. Matt and Shane Secret Podcast.
Oh man, they got Matt and Shane.
You're not supposed to tell people what we're fans of, Dan.
Yeah, but you know,
I didn't say it.
Dan's got a curious mind. You know,
Your brother said it.
He doesn't know not to ask though, Luke. He doesn't know not to ask.
Now that Shane moved to Texas, it's kind of the same thing. It's like we got to say, we're not going to do NFL. We're not going to do McDonald's. We're not going to do boxing.
We're not doing Texas either.
Shane is kind of going on the stock exchange now. So this is not an advertisement for Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. This is an advertisement for our Comb Club. What I'm trying to say is keep an eye on the boys down in Texas now. We don't want them to get corrupted, okay? And we don't want them to start having to please the shareholders. You know what I'm saying? So keep everybody honest. And if you are subscribed to other podcasts and you need to unsubscribe to subscribe to ours,
do it.
That's famine mentality. Don't think like that. Think.
Alex.
What you need to do is, if you believe in the show and if you want us to succeed and if you want Triple P Fest to take place in Las Vegas during International Fight Week where we buy a huge mansion and have all of our fans able to come for free, the journey to that begins here. Okay? The journey to that begins here. And that's my goal. That's my goal. To meet all of you, to shake hands.
And let Dan have sex with your girlfriends. That's a part of it.
Alex, Dan wouldn't do that. Come on. Nope.
What?
That's why it was funny because he's the married one, you know. None of us are married.
Again, you're saying too much personal stuff. But I guess they do know Dan is married. Okay, that's fine.
They do know Dan's
married.
married.
Wear a ring? Do you wear a ring?
Rock on, baby.
You keep it on when you do jiu-jitsu?
No.
Definitely don't.
When's the
There's too many babes at jiu-jitsu. You can't be wearing a ring there.
When's your last class?
Tomorrow.
No, when's your last one? When's the last time you went?
I only look ahead.
When's the last time you were there?
I only look ahead, brother.
First last month?
Dan, your last class
is Alex, his card just got charged again, so he's like, fuck, I gotta go. Because the only thing Dan hates more than going to jiu-jitsu is losing money.
When was your last class? That's the better question.
I was about to say my last class is.
I'm not talking to you, Alex. I know you're an active member. I'm talking.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You'd be surprised, motherfucker.
No. I've been dealing with bouts of melancholy lately. Okay, and that being said, I was on the floor with my 1-year-old the other day, showing her how to triangle Minnie Mouse, and she's getting pretty damn good. So, if Rose is 50 and wants it in 18 years, she can get it. All right, except because we want the money fights.
So your last class was
my last class was like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Oh, look at you, Alex, falling on the sword of your brother. That's real nice of you.
Okay, you want to know when my last class was? I can actually tell you exactly when it was. It was almost a year ago.
Dang.
Yeah, I have you all beat.
It was probably 8 months ago.
I'm beating the biggest pussy.
And I was actually taking boxing classes at that time. And I'll tell you what
I remember.
Cardio kickboxing. He was doing cardio kickboxing, guys. He was doing cardio kickboxing with all the other moms.
It was me.
No, he was taking smokers.
It was me and 3 ladies. That is true. But then I got more one-on-one attention with the instructor.
No, you didn't.
Actually, when it's you and 3 ladies, it's very hard to get one-on-one attention. You got to kick a girl in the liver and make her cry just to get a couple minutes with them. You know what I mean? You got to take her out, and then you go, hey, by the way, can you show me how to turn over my jab? And he's like, hold on. He's like, she's crying, and you're like, don't worry about her. She's good. She's good. Anyway, I wish I could kick somebody in the liver. It's the sad truth is, ladies and gentlemen, they would check it with their elbow and break my leg like I'm Conor McGregor. If one of these girls at this point, okay? These ladies are tough. All right, let's move on.
Did you guys get the UFC game?
It can't be stated enough how much Tom is going to get fucked up by Sergey. I feel like
it
really,
can't be.
And Oscar Willits should be looked at. Okay,
Yeah.
Because
investigate him.
Did you see the interview he did with Tom Aspinall? And he's like, I told you you were gonna be champ at the end of the year. I'm like, you're a bad friend. You're a bad friend. You should have been saying, don't take this fight. Did you see what happened to Volk? Yeah, we all love him. He's got a concussion. I think he was sad before. Now he's really not jumping off the boat. He's got stitches up here now. He's not gonna be able to jump off the boat. It's summer in Australia right now.
Who lives in Australia? Oscar is
Volk. I'm saying, everybody was all proud of Volk for stepping up, but now are you guys? When I saw that airport, there were 8 guys there doing a haka for him, 8, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's so nice." Where are you now? Are you going and checking in on him now? He said he's mentally ill. He said he's having depression. He said he's having a bout with the melancholy. Now all of a sudden you're saying that.
No, he said he does his head in, which here means something completely different. I mean, if you do your own head in,
it's the same thing. It means
I know. I was making a joke about their fucking fairy tale talk.
Do yourself in, Don't do yourself in now. That makes sense. But listen, I'm just saying, like everyone, these guys who are these journalists, quote unquote, who are really friendly with these fighters. I don't know. If you were so good, why didn't you get the scoop to him a little bit earlier? Then he could have been training. All right, we got a lot to break down, guys. Let's move on. Jessica Andrade, Mackenzie Dern. Won't waste some time. It's Mackenzie Dern, but she's obviously disappointed everybody in the past. I've been beating the drum that Jessica Andrade is dead for the last 3 fights. She got whooped up on by the Queen of New Jersey, Erin Blanchfield. I called that. Erin was an underdog. I picked her. No one else did. Whatever. It's all good. I picked Zhao Yanan. No one else did. Whatever. She was an underdog too. Tatiana Suarez obviously dispatched her. Andrade is literally just showing up for a paycheck. She does not want to win. She doesn't have the ability to win. She's going to get stomped out by Mackenzie Dern unless Mackenzie, the head case she is, decides to fuck around like she tends to do in some of these fights. I mean, the Marina Rodriguez fight absolutely dominates when she gets the fight to the ground and then, decides to be a fucking punching bag for 4 rounds. And it's not me saying it. Jason Perillo got in her crawl too and was very upset. He literally said when she came back after round 3, what'd you take a round off? You take that round off? No worries. She couldn't get it together, okay? And Mackenzie, with the divorce and all that, I don't expect her to be sharp between the eyebrows. I expect her to be all over the place. She could blow this. She could be everybody's parlay bust pillar. Do not bet her at more than minus 200, but it's Mackenzie Dern. It's Mackenzie Dern by whatever she wants. But even as I'm saying it, I'm like, what? She going to submit?
That's so dumb. It's literally the dumbest take on this fight of all time, but...
It is, right? It is dumb as hell.
It's the dumbest thing. It's
I've been fading Jessica Andrade for 3 straight fights. Now I'm not going to fade her, but it's
yes.
Because Mackenzie just makes mistakes. She'll try to box with Jessica Andrade. She'll get beat up for 2 rounds. She'll get to the ground, but end up on her back and end up in guard. She could lose this fight. You know what I mean?
Buy low, sell high, Luke.
The thing is, Jessica does not want to be there. I almost want to bet Mackenzie by 3rd round submission or 2nd or 3rd because I think she does come out strong, but doesn't get Mackenzie out. So therefore, Mackenzie is, everyone's like, fuck, man, Mackenzie's going to, but then Mackenzie will underperform, but still win. How does that happen? With a late submission after losing at least 1, if not 2 rounds. 2nd or 3rd round submission, Mackenzie Dern. Jessica doesn't want to be there and does not want to fight for 15 minutes. She doesn't have the ability to, doesn't train for that anymore, doesn't have the ability to train for that anymore. I know Perillo will at least get her but Perillo will at least get her jumping rope, and she always has jiu-jitsu. And if Andrade is tired and Mackenzie isn't, she can submit her.
Yeah, no, I'm going to put my money on the person who's not an idiot and finds their way to lose every other fight in their career. Mackenzie Dern's coming off of a big win. What's that mean? She's going to have a big loss, an even bigger loss. One that we're all just like, Mackenzie, why did you decide to let everybody weight shame you into not coming in 8 pounds heavier than the other woman? That is what she should be doing. Like, the weight shaming in MMA is atrocious. I don't like it one bit. Mackenzie Dern should be a milky mommy coming in at 123, fighting at 115. I don't need to see her this thin. She is going to get beat. She is going to get beat by I almost said Justin Bieber. Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade is going to go out there and dismantle her. She's just a harder woman. She looks at a gal like Mackenzie Dern who fakes her accent and wants to absolutely destroy her. A girl who grew up in Nebraska or something, Oklahoma, is just like acting Brazilian, supports the Brazilian flag. And Jesse Andrade is like, no. You haven't spent a day in the favelas. As much as you eat acai and you train jiu-jitsu, you are not a Brazilian. You are an American citizen, and you should stop with the accent. Stop with the accent at all costs. Maybe now that the man's out of the way, she will. Jessica Andrade was on the right path all along. Don't need a man in her life. She's a strong, independent woman. She's going to go out there and destroy Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah, so my original take was to go with Jesse Andrade. However, I think Luke has swayed me. I think what is going to happen is there will be a lot of first-round success by Andrade, but Luke's right. She no longer wants to be in there for full 15 minutes, maybe not even 10. Whereas, say what you want, but I feel like the Brazilian quote unquote fraud. I'm not sold on that yet. I don't know. But at the very least, she's quite tough. She hangs in there. She does some dumb asinine things every once in a while, but she's tough. She'll be in there for 15 minutes, and she's a threat to finish the fight at any moment in time. So you combine that, like Luke said, with Andrade's quitability at this point in her career. I think I'm fading Andrade.
Let me ask you a hypothetical. Jessica Andrade versus Amanda Ribas. Who do you take?
Ribas.
Dan?
I'd have to think it over.
The only person I take Andrade against at this point in her career,
Angela Hill.
Poppins.
I think Angela
Poppins. Or who's the bag of milk? Aspinall.
But something you failed to mention. You're who?
Who's the bag of milk from Colorado?
JJ Aldrich.
JJ and Poppins. Or
Poppins is Corey McKenna.
Poppins or JJ. I would say Andrade can beat those.
You said who's the bag of milk from Colorado? Is that Corey?
I gotta watch the weigh-in show for UFC 295, okay? Because DC will probably be on it with like Chris Weidman, and those are the best episodes because it's in New York. But dude, the weigh-in show, DC, he always references Hannah Cyphers. It's like a funny joke where like they'll be like he'll be like it'll be like a list of 5 fighters, and they'll be like, and then finally I gotta go Hannah Cyphers. It's the funniest fucking thing. So I hope he does that this week. But I almost said Hannah Cyphers. Like that's who just got to be.
But one thing, Luke, you mentioned Aaron Blanchfield and Tatiana Suarez. What's the big difference between those two gals and one Mackenzie Dern? They know how to wrestle. Mackenzie Dern only knows, barambolas. She only knows how to go for leggy lockies. She doesn't really know.
She needs to learn a rolling thunder is what she needs. Get her with Tony. Her and Tony need to workshop rolling thunder for the whole week. All right.
Rolling thunder, an ankle pick, and then maybe an ankle pick into a rolling thunder. Fake them out big time. Maybe a little sand action. You can never have too much sand action during a fight.
The worst part about jiu-jitsu is the refusal to learn takedowns, the thought that every fight starts on your butt, the thought that every fight starts on your knees, the thought that if you're outside a bar, you're going to be rolling around on the ground on your back in the gutter in Philadelphia, Dan. Yeah, you take Laura out for night in Philadelphia, you're going to be rolling around with all those needles in the gutter. When some guy tries to accost you. No.
You're on K&A. You're on K&A. You don't want to touch that ground, even with your shoes, let alone.
Like, if I'm in the streets of Kensington Avenue, I'm throwing capoeira kicks, or I'm just gonna try to like do a fireman's carry and throw them onto the. You know what I mean? Just
or run, but you don't outrun a crackhead.
No, you do. Well, at least those trank heads in Philly. They're not. They don't.
Oh yeah, those are zombos.
They do sudden jolts. They're kind of like gators. You know what I mean? They're relatively docile until you trip their defense. Then sudden jolt. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Fishing Gary.
You remember when that crackhead in New York came at me and I slipped his jab like Floyd Mayweather? Remember that shit?
I wasn't there for that.
Yeah, you were. Oh my god, we were walking out of the 7-Eleven. The guy was out. He was in the 7-Eleven. He was knocking all the stuff off the shelves. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
On the way to meet Alex, not this Alex, the other one from Boston. Remember?
Right.
And he took a swing at me, and I went, and I slipped it like Floyd Mayweather. You were like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, those were some crazy days.
Just letting you guys know, like, please take a swing at me in the streets. You know what I mean? Like, please take a swing on me if you see me in the streets, and you'll see. You test
especially
it.
If you're Especially if you're a UFC fighter. I would love a UFC fighter to just punch me and just have that video forever.
Pat Sabatini versus Diego Lopes. Alex is going with Andrade. Dan and I are settling with Dern. I convinced him. Pat Sabatini, Philly pride. We were just talking about Kensington Ave. This is a Philly guy. This is a Pennsylvania boy. Eagles are going good. They're doing well. But he had that really embarrassing knockout loss to Damon Jackson. We were all so high on Pat Sabatini. We really loved his win against Jamal Emmers. We loved his win against Tucker Lutz. We loved his win against TJ Laramie. Then he gets knocked the fuck out when I'm highest on him. When I'm like, oh, Damon Jackson, serve up match. Balding guy, serve up match. Didn't know Damon Jackson was coming in with a very heavy heart. His brother had just passed away, and he took all of that out on Mr. Pat Sabatini, kicked him in the jaw, knocked him the fuck out. But then Pat comes back with the submission triangle choke win against Lucas Almeida 4 months ago. This is a dangerous fight for Pat, though. The fight against Movsar that Diego Lopes took on very short notice was nothing if not inspiring. He's out there training the champ, Alexa Grasso. He's got a lot of positive motivation in around him. I have a lot of respect for Diego Lopes and the way he fought Movsar and almost beat the undefeated fighter 5 months ago on short notice. I have a lot of respect for the way he followed up 3 months later and submitted Gavin Tucker. Give me Diego Lopes in this, but it's hairy. I like that Diego is the underdog, I believe, in this. So that's why I'm kind of leading that way, because in a 50-50 kind of situation, I prefer to reward good behavior and to go against the grain a little bit in this kind of situation. So while I do respect Pat Sabatini and think this is a definitely winnable fight for him, I just think Diego Lopes is so dangerous. And those guys out of Philly, the Sean Brady's, the Pat Sabatinis, the Andre Petrosky's, to me, they fight well when it's not as controlled chaos. You know what this fight reminds me of? Michelle Pereira versus Andre Petrosky. That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, I hear you on that as well. Luke's on fire today. I feel like
I'm on fire today. I think I am on fire today.
Except for the main event. But everything else, I'm in agreement on.
The main event where my holes are in the main event. I just think that Procházka's the underdog, and he's an elite fighter with 30 fights to his name against a guy with less than 10.
Luke, you say you've been watching football and getting offended by the horror culture commercials. Have you not seen the guy tell you to like not chase losses? Don't just chase dogs because they're dogs. Like, have you not seen that commercial?
He's not just going at them because they're dogs.
Yeah,
he is. Every fighter so far, he's been like, well, Mackenzie Dern's a dog. Well, Yuri Procházka's a dog.
Not because I'm some actuarial scientist or I'm Gianni the Greek or I'm out here on, I'm not stat diggers, but I'm still a gambler. But the line is indicative of public response and public. It's like polling the audience in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right? You see what the people think and you go, okay. And yeah, usually they're right. But then there's these instances where they're not. And you also, this isn't Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So it's not exactly a direct comparison. I'm just saying that like there are situations where as long as I, as a student of the game who watches every event with my butt in the seat from the first prelim till the last fight, I watch the weigh-in show, I watch the weigh-ins, I watch the after show, I watch everybody's podcast, I watch all the press conferences, I watch all the interviews. There's nothing that doesn't make it across my desk. So
except for the commentary during the fights.
I do mute the commentary for the most part. That's been 2 events now that I've muted the commentary, and I love it. But what I'm saying is nothing doesn't make it across my desk, but the vast majority of the public is significantly less informed than me. So if I use the line as an indicator of what the less informed public is thinking and use it to my advantage, knowing that if the majority is going to be right here, it's hard to keep the lights on in Vegas. So I'm just saying, like, I got to find my spots. Tyson Fury by split decision. That was the right answer. I didn't see it.
Honestly, I want to petition. I want to petition for Mike Goldberg back as a UFC commentator myself. That's just what I want.
Alex, when you're right, you're right. And I never thought of that, but that would solve so many problems. To get him back in there.
Like, and we take a lot of our angst out on like these fighter guys because they are telling, Brendan Fitzgerald to say whatever he's saying. They're telling all the non-fighter guys to be like, a different way. But Mike Goldberg called it how it was. He would tell you when the Burger King ad was coming on during the fight, when George St. Pierre is sniffing crotch for 5 rounds in a row. He's like, remember, have it your way, Burger King. People, all these NFL fans, sorry to get back on this, but all these NFL fans who are like, oh, these Burger King commercials, what's worse than seeing your team miss a field goal and then having it be $dollar BK Whopper?
I love that commercial, by the way.
I do too. We've been dealing with that for years. We've been dealing with that for years. When we wanted somebody to finally dethrone GSP just because he was posting a lot of boring fights, like all we would hear is Mike Goldberg talking about think outside the bun, have it your way.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed. Whatever horror movie is coming on. When you're watching the UFC, huh?
They still do it.
They still do it, but I'm saying like these NFL fans, like they're just now getting into the have it your way mode, and they don't understand that this happens all the time. You see Josh Koscheck on his back for 3 rounds, and then all of a sudden, you're hearing about the new horror movie, and it's okay for the UFC to promote horror movies because it's a horror show itself.
They really only do it at the beginning of the round, so it's because that's why it'll be like John Anik when Ben Askren got knocked out. He's like, "This fight brought to you by Modelo." Sometimes, but listen,
Modelo should put that in every commercial.
Let's digress. We're an hour 30 in. We can save this.
All right. Diego Lopes all the way. Diego Lopes is gonna win this fight.
I got a piece, so take it away into the next one. And
Luke mentioned a lot of. Okay, yeah, I know. We already know what you fucking picked. I'm taking Lopes as well. Luke mentioned a lot of Philly pride, a lot of good stuff going on in Philly. But all that spells for me is that Pat Sabatini might not be training as hard. What's he doing when the Phils are in the NLCS? What's he doing when the Eagles are driving down the field? You can take the scumbag out of Philly, but you can't take the Philly out of the scumbag. Right, Dan?
That's right.
That is absolutely correct. Diego Lopes wins this fight. He makes it hairy. He makes it a bad situation. And Luke brought up the guy whose brother died. What was his name?
Mark
the Leech.
Jackson.
Damon Jackson.
Damon
Jackson poses a lot of similar threats to Pat Sabatini as well. He has a lot of the same type of game plan where he does have really good jiu-jitsu. He does train really hard. But he's also a little bit funky on the feet, and he gives people problems. I'm going with Lopes here. It might be a dumb pick, but something in my heart just tells me that Pat Sabatini isn't walking out with his hand raised. And if he does, it's not an easy fight.
Yeah, I like Lopes here just off the fact that Sabatini breaks dudes, and I feel like when he comes across a guy that he's not able to break like that, he might be the one to fold. You know, this is a who blinks first kind of fight. We got the young gun here who, you know, maybe he's too inexperienced to know when to break, right? It's one of those situations. But this kid's jiu-jitsu is legit. His striking seems to be really good. He's one of these guys where, like, if you look at his pre-UFC tape, you're like, not really a striker. Then he gets to the UFC, it's like, whoa, this kid's apparently been working on his hands because it's way improved. So, yeah, I think he probably has a size advantage too, at least in my mind's eye. I got to check up on the old
I believe so.
The tail of the tape, but everything to me is pointing towards Lopes. You're going to get some underdog value here as well. I think he's at plus 130.
Lopes, 3 height advantage and 2.5-inch reach advantage.
Nice. He's at plus 114. So that to me is a Diego Lopes line.
Beautiful Diego Lopes line. And, you know, shout out to another Philly legend, the guy with all the twists. What's his name, Dan? Movie guy. M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Unbreakable. Dan thinks Diego Lopes is unbreakable. And now I guess I'll take us away into the next fight. Sorry, taking down the timestamp, boys. Because I know you'll cry if I don't take down the timestamps. Oh, gee Williker. You can't just watch an extra fucking 5 minutes? Besides the point. Next up, we got Benoit Saint-Denis versus Matt Frevola, the steamroller Frevola versus BSD, the turncoat, the guy who refuses to fight our dear friend Joe Solecki, the guy with his tail between his legs every time he sees Joe Solecki's name on a contract. Where did this Alessio no. Where did this Matt Frevola fight with Terrence McKinney happen? Did this happen in New York? Could this have been another New York fight?
There was Atman Azatar he knocked out in New York.
Okay,
that's good news. I think he was supposed to lose.
Gila at Gila River Arena. No, that's not it.
Guys, I apologize if I'm going in and out here. I got a brand new puppy that's tearing up the place. I got to scold him. You know what I mean? So just give me 5 seconds here and there. I'll be back. I'm listening. I'm attentive. I'm giving you the best picks of the game. That's all I got. Give me 1 sec.
Hell yeah, no problem. Take your time. So Matt Frevola, he fought in Arizona. In his losses, he fought in Arizona and he fought in Abu Dhabi. What that means to this? Absolutely fucking nothing. I think that I don't know if I'm just completely against this guy, Benoit Saint-Denis. One thing that will really sway me is if he came into that Alesia Zelensky fight on short notice. Let's see. Benoit Saint-Denis. Relatively short notice. It was his first UFC fight. And Zelensky was actually scheduled to fight Rachmanov a week before. Zelensky withdrew and then had Saint-Denis the next week. Smart decision move. Smart career move right there. It's like a kicker not going for the tackle at the end of the play. I'm going to roll with Matt Frevola here, and here's why. Although he has gotten a lot of first-round knockouts as of late, he has a great ground game. He's really good at wrestling. He can steamroll you. And Benoit Saint-Denis is afraid to fight Joe Solecki. He will take any out he can. He's like, the Ukraine war. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I don't even know where I live anymore. I can't fight Joe Solecki at all costs. Joe Solecki was about to go to France and fight his ass. Do we remember this? Joe Solecki was about to go on his soil and take his name and his fame and everything that he had. Should
I cold call Joe Solecki and get his take for this fight?
No. You've done enough with Joe Solecki over the past 3 days, okay? You're ruining our relationships. You don't just throw somebody on. Well, you do, but you got to let them know that we're recording.
I'll FaceTime him.
No.
Cold FaceTime. Just a cold FaceTime.
Even worse. There's a reason that he says when we record with Joe Solecki, we do it on a completely different day because the day we usually record is not conducive to a schedule. So don't cold call Joe Solecki on the day that he can never record. And that doesn't make any damn sense, Luke. Come on. Wake up.
Okay.
Wake up, Luke. You're taking Matt Frevola, Alex?
Yeah, Dan, what do you think?
Before Dan says something, let me just say this. Matt Frevola in New York is like Scorpion in the nether realm, okay? This is where he is overpowered. This is where he's going to get thrown a hot dog from somebody in the audience. He's going to squirt the mustard in Benoit's eyes, going to get his sights all fucked up, and then he's going to kick him in the face. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, if this were anywhere else, like you said, Alex, you brought up a good point. He lost in Arizona. He lost in Abu Dhabi. He didn't lose in New York when they put him up against who?
Atman.
But Atman Azatar's brother sucked last time we saw him fight against.
They both suck. This is
Benoit is fucking good, but like Matt Frevola, he's Matt Frevola, Matt Serra, and he's Matt Frevola. We're gonna go get hot dogs. You know, like they're gonna get hot dogs and we're gonna get some gabagool after the fight. Me and Matt and Chris Weidman.
It's all right because not everybody from this camp is going to win tonight.
Okay, most people from New York lose. He already had his shining moment in New York. God doesn't reward twice. I'm going with BSD.
Ooh.
This is a pick, man. Oh, it's so tempting. Matt Frevola, plus 250, plus 280. It's like plus 200. It's like right there. It's fucking right there. It's like,
is he plus 200?
Yes, it's screaming at you. It's like, take me. I'm in New York. I got Matt Serra and Ray Longo. Guys, it's trap. It's a trap.
It's not a trap. This is where you're wrong, Luke. I'm going with Matt Frevola, plus 170. BSD is so overrated. Very overrated fighter.
Opened at plus 200 or more. I can guarantee you that when I looked at this fight a couple days ago. So
yeah, the Sharks are coming in. They're like, yeah, give me this fucking free money. Taking Matt Frevola.
Sharks are too busy betting football. Sharks aren't thinking about Saturday.
Sharks are definitely thinking about Saturday.
I believe the term is sharks, guys. I believe the term is sharps, not sharks.
No shark that is wrapping his capital up in a fight 20 days from now. You know, that's like he might as well invest in the stock market.
The wise guys are on Matt Frevola. The wise guys, okay? BSD, he could wrestle a little bit here and there, Striking is not
Let me
good.
just say this,
Not
for all you
clean
actuarial
whatsoever.
scientists, wait, for all you guys who turned down the job at NASDAQ to have YouTube shows about gambling, let me just say this. When you're chasing a plus 0.5 or a plus 2.5 or a plus 50 or even a plus 100 line movement, you're really selling yourself short because that level of return 5 weeks out is probably you're missing out on opportunity costs that in those 5 weeks you could have it wouldn't have even mattered, right? It's like if you're chasing lines, then you're already not listening to what I say at the beginning of the show. It doesn't matter what the odds are, it matters what's going to happen. Okay,
A quote
you can
that
lose
Luke stole
money
from me.
making great bets all day. I literally, I was going to say this.
Quoting that.
I talked myself into knots, contradicted myself 7 times over. What I'm trying to say is nobody likes a smarty pants. Like all these guys, like I don't know. I mean, the line was plus 200, now it's plus 170. I think I missed my shot. It's like the fight's 2 weeks away. If you're looking at opportunity costs, yeah, you could have fucking invested in Ethereum and shorted Bitcoin and fucking done a million different things between now and then to make up the fucking difference and then put that money on the fucking right pick. And then, you know what I mean? It's like,
and everybody knows
don't do your head in. Don't do your head in is what I'm trying to say. Don't do your head in.
everybody knows live betting MMA is the only way to win money. And if you want that, you got to go to Perfect Parlay or patreon.com/Perfect Parlay Pursuit, the Comb Club. That is where you will get our live sheets and we update them as we're live betting on these fights.
No guarantees of winnings. No guarantees of winning. Not financial advice. And don't invest.
I didn't say you'd
Not
win.
financial advice. I'm speaking in the realm of theory. I'm saying, you know, if I right now say, oh, I'm gonna, you know, blah 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 blah, there's an opportunity cost, right? So I'm just saying, like, there's an opportunity cost to doing nothing too. Just remember that. That's what I'm trying to say. There's an opportunity cost to sitting around waiting for the perfect wave when you could have been surfing all summer. All right. So I will go with BSD, preventing the Troll B certification. Next, we got a lot of fights. We got Joshua Van. He's taking on Kevin Borjas. This is the prelim opener. It probably will change. I don't know why Mark Madsen and Jared Gordon aren't in this spot, but Joshua Van versus Kevin Borjas. Kevin Borjas out of Peru, coming off the Contender Series victory over Victor Diaz 1 month, 1 week, and 6 days ago. I believe I remember watching it. And if you go back 4 months, you will see that Joshua Van took on Zhalgas Zhumagulov in his debut and got the win, split decision. That was when, you know, everybody was saying Zhalgas, you know, on this losing streak, Zhalgas getting all these terrible nods. Now he's got the Patty the Batty haircut. This is when this is when he'll get the split decision awarded to him. Still didn't go in his favor. He lost that fight 4 months ago.
And was cut.
And was cut from the promotion. So, you know, debutantes tend to lose at a rate of 66%. I'd love to see a stat on when a debutant wins, do they lose their next fight? That would be a very interesting stat. We'll have our stat guy look into that. I'm going to go with Kevin Borjas, El Gallo Negro over here. That the Black Cat. I like that. The Black Cat. No, Gallo? Is that Peruvian? It must be Peruvian. Let me look that up. Peruvian for Peru.
I think it means black chicken.
Oh, it means rooster.
Black cock.
Black cock! You just got me to say the black cock on my own TV show. This is crazy. This is crazy. You can't script this stuff, guys. Oh my goodness gracious. So
if this wasn't flyweight and it was heavyweight, I would say it was a BBC, but instead it's a TBC.
It's flyweight. I mean,
because they're a flyweight.
Like, you know that COVID pandemic meme that people would be like, "Oh, COVID reported in your area," and then it's a El Gallo Negro. You know what I mean? It's the black. You know what I mean? It's the black rooster. That is what he just did to us. I had to do 2 Google searches for him to make me say that his nickname is the Black Cock. For that, well done. Tip of the hat. Alex, tip your hat, please. You're the only one wearing a hat. Thank you. And I'm going with El Gallo Negro. I'm going with the Black Cock, not the Black Cat.
Wait, is that Joshua Van?
No, Kevin Borjas.
Oh man,
and like
you're on the losing side of this. It's gonna be Joshua Van. Funny nickname, regardless. That Zhalgas
The only way
fight.
Josh can redeem himself is if his nickname was Josh Get in the.
That is good.
There's another Workaholics reference I could do, but I won't.
Well, listen, I'm just going off. I'll be honest. I'm going off the recency bias here of Joshua Van beating Double Z, who, though he has a losing record, I still contend good UFC fighter, and he beat him pillar to post. This is a guy who had no, we talk about UFC debutants all the time. This did not affect Joshua Van whatsoever. I believe his opponent, however, is a UFC debutant. I expect there to be, some sort of a factor going on there. Joshua Van's a good fighter. I'm going to bet on him. That's all I got.
Okay, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I want to take.
Don't overdo it.
No, I want to take Joshua Van, but he's in the slums at this 40 ounce to Freedom Fight Club over here with Daniel Pineda, Ike Villanueva.
That's a badass name. Oh, 4 ounce Fight
Club. Steve Garcia and Domingo Pilarte. These are all guys who are effectively being washed out of the UFC.
Steve Garcia had a sick fight against Chase Hooper. He put it on that boy. He did what I would have done. He did exactly what I would have done to Chase Hooper. He did. No,
wrong guy. That's Steve Peterson.
Who did Nifty Steve knock out?
No, Steve Garcia is the assassin. There might be two different Steve Garcias though. It's not the one you're thinking of. The assassin never
You're
went.
You're already overdoing it.
No, the assassin never went to the UFC. You're sitting here talking about another Steve Garcia. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I'm talking about the guy who got knocked out in China. Nifty Steve.
That is not the same guy, and I don't know how many times I will have to tell you that. So it is not the same dude.
Fights in the UFC. So Joshua Van doesn't train with Steve Garcia, who fights in the UFC.
No, a different.
Okay, well, then why even bring it up?
Because I'm saying he's training with bums, Luke.
Oh. I thought you were Steve Garcia, who we've seen knock out Chase Hooper, a bum.
Ike Villanueva is not in the UFC anymore. Daniel the Pineda is about to be out of the UFC, that doper. And this is not alleged. They found that out. One of his fights got ruled to a no contest. I'm going to roll with Joshua Van, but I do not feel happy about who he's training with. He's training with absolute bums. He's a loser, and he's training with losers. So, it's like that poster that your math teacher would have up. Surround yourself with people you want to be around, and it's all sharp pencils, and you're a dull pencil. He's not really surrounding himself with sharp pencils. He's around a bunch of dull pencils that are all the way up to the fucking eraser. This Joshua Van, but sometimes you are the hammer and you're not the nail, and Joshua Van might be that guy.
Wrap it up.
Shut the fuck up. If you didn't take 30 minutes of my spiel to talk about Steve Garcia, who isn't even the right Steve Garcia.
Jared Gordon. We got a lot to break down. Jared Gordon, Mark Madsen, the Olympian Mark Madsen, coming off that loss to Grant Dawson 11 months ago. Grant Dawson dominated him in the grappling department of that fight, really showing that if you're an Olympian from Denmark, you ain't no Daniel Cormier. You know what I mean? There's levels to the Olympics. There's levels. That's why America wins all the time, because we have the good Olympic teams. If you're
and what's a crackhead from New York?
What'd you say?
And what's a crackhead from New York?
What do you mean?
In your standings of Olympian from America, Olympian from Denmark, and where does drug addict from New York fall into that? Where does that fall into that?
I don't even know who you could be talking about. But they fall pretty high, to be honest with you.
After you duck that one punch by a drug addict in New York, you think highly of their skills.
Yeah, I mean, he almost got me, and I'm very good. So, yeah, man. I mean, it's tough, right? Because Mark Madsen's 39 years old, and why do I want to call him Mark O. Madsen? Is this a Berenstein Bears kind of thing where his name was Mark O. Madsen, or am I
thought it was Mark O. Madsen.
Okay,
I'm with you on that.
Okay, as long as we're all, this Mandela effect is not just hitting me. All right, it's Mandela effect. I thought his name was Mark O. Madsen. All right, so Mark Madsen, 39 years old, right? That's the big key here, and I just think Jared Gordon can win this fight easily. It's Jared Gordon for me. I think he's a giant favorite though. Which it's the same boat. Jared Gordon, Yuri Procházka, same, right? Big, good fighters, competent skill set, make bad decisions in their lives, right? So Mark Madsen, the opposite of that, good decision maker, right? But this is cage fighting. So the guy who is a little bit more reckless, a little bit more wild, a little bit more crazy sometimes can win that affair. Jared Gordon got a lot to fight for. Jared Gordon literally actually has nothing to fight for because his winnings are being put towards his family's tickets. So you, the Gordon family, should be ashamed of yourself. Get a part-time job, don't buy a pack of Marlboros that week for a few weeks, you know what I mean? And then use that money to go see your boy or your friend fight. It sickens me that they're getting a free ride to go to Madison Square Garden. I'm just waiting for Alex to call me out because me and him literally got free tickets to get to Madison Square Garden to watch a UFC fight. So
no, that was God showing us that we're good boys. And
if God loved Jared Gordon's friends, they'd find a way to get him free tickets. But
exactly,
well,
they did in a way.
And it's like, back to what we were saying about the circles you run in. It's like, I don't know why, and anyway.
Half of these people can't get jobs, Luke. They're in halfway houses. That's why he has to pay for their tickets.
That would be beautiful. If Jared Gordon, the only way I'll redeem this is if Jared Gordon points to the audience and says, "And look at that group over there in section 2A. That's a bunch of unfortunate folks that I paid for their tickets." That's what he should say.
100%. And otherwise, you would expect your friends to just pay for their tickets, come support you. It's insane.
Watch it at home. Meet me outside after. I'm not gonna fucking know if you're there in person or not. Like, you could just New York. We know how New York City is. We know where Madison Square Garden is. You could just be right there where they kicked Johnny Walker out to, right? Like they pushed him out that side door. Be right there waiting for Jared Gordon. It's the same door they're gonna kick Jared out onto. Because I saw the price of these tickets. They're pretty bad. Yeah.
Ever since John Jones got pulled off, I guarantee they went down 50%.
A meme that said that the most expensive ticket for the fight when John Jones was expected to fight and then retire against Stipe. I feel weird even saying this because it doesn't even make sense, and I don't want to propagate ridiculousness. It said $152,000 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll tell you, the least expensive ticket was $1,500.
But it's
one.
Yeah, but it's just one. So 100 times more. So there's 100x.
Yes. Between the worst seat in Madison Square Garden and the best
folks, do we need to say anymore? Join the Patreon, join the Discord. Now more than ever, we need community. Now more than ever, we need to stick together. We need to communicate. And we need to realize that we're all in this together. It's one big club and we're not in it. If the most expensive seat is $150,000 and the most cheap seat is $1,500, guess what, guys? They don't want you there. They don't want us there. They don't want people cut from the cloth that we're cut from to be there, okay? Jared Gordon just didn't get the memo. You know what I mean? And instead of choosing to elevate himself into a stratosphere where maybe he can outrun this oncoming apocalypse that's coming for you, coming for me, and would be coming for Jared, could have taken that money, invested it, and maybe he could outrun this for a little while. But instead, he's giving it to his dirtbag friends and dirtbag family, and they're going to show up. They're going to buy $15 Budweisers and $20 hot dogs, and they're going to contribute to this entropic journey to nowhere that we're all on, it seems, in America.
Luke, I don't know if you know this, but he is actually petitioning to have himself fight earlier in the night so everybody can make it from the halfway house there and back in time for curfew. So he's like, please, guys, can I get the first fight of the night just so my friends can come because they have a curfew?
Do you guys remember when Israel Adesanya won his UFC fight? This is completely unrelated to everything I just said. He was they were interviewing him and talking about all the money he was making, and he was saying how he's buying real estate with it, and he owns all these properties. And he said, "There's a quote. Look this up."
Now his girlfriend owns most of those properties.
Stop. Look this up. There's a quote. It said something to the tune of Israel said, "I'm buying up New Zealand like the Chinese." Okay, because I guess the Chinese make a lot of investments, and I don't know.
Chinese champ.
But if you're from, and then he's the Chinese. Isn't that funny? It's like, isn't that hilarious that then it all came full circle with that video of him saying, "I am Chinese."
I will buy all your property.
He's crazy, dude. I don't know why I thought of that, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that America could very well be a country where foreigners from other countries who are rich come and buy up all the houses, and we as Americans who are born and raised here can't afford it. How do you think those Hawaiian people feel? How do you think people from nice places in America feel? They get pushed out all the time. You, in your little fucking area of fucking Queens, you're about to get pushed out too, bitch. Or not Queens. That's a bad example. Queens is the most diverse city in America anyway. It's already a complete melting pot. I'm saying, and I'm not even talking about I'm saying like people who don't live here buying our fucking houses and then renting them to us is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
If Jared Gordon's on the route to being a victim of that, it would seem, if he's not going to.
That was like wrapping a Christmas present in newspaper, though. Like,
I know. Well, because I was trying to relate it to Jared Gordon, because with the Queens thing, I was trying to basically say like, hey, save your money, or you won't be able to afford a house where you're from. But I kind of, people already come to New York City to live from other places. It was a bad example. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm going with Marco Madsen. Jared Gordon got out wrestled by Paddy Pimblett, and
don't gaslight me. Everything I said was valid. Co-sign it. Please co-sign it, or I'm editing this out.
Here's the thing. Concussion boy can go out there and like get a concussion 1 week and then try to fight Jim Miller and be like, no, I have a concussion right now, and then get pulled out of the fight. How much better is he after 3 months, after what that body has went through? After like, and I would never, okay? And I would never.
All right, Alex.
What?
We're 2 hours in. We still have a Code Club episode to do.
Luke, you just are going off about the New World Order.
I can't do any editing. You're just dancing on a fine line. I can't do any editing.
You are the only person. You and Dan are the only two people who need to edit anything out. I will stand on the.
I don't need to edit out shit.
Don't talk about Jared Gordon's sordid past. He's a new man. He's done his time. He's good.
I'm not talking about his sordid past. And if you're taking it that way, then you are.
You're saying
the problem.
Yes, you are the problem. And I wanted to say a different word there. But besides the point, Marco Madsen is going to win this. He's an Olympian. He's been training himself for a long time. And although that's a lot of wear and tear on the body, it's not as much wear and tear as what Jared Gordon has went through in his life. Believe me. Jared Gordon, he's facing concussion problems right now. I wouldn't even, and this might be crazy, I think Marco Madsen wins by TKO. I think he finishes him. I think Marco Madsen finishes Jared Gordon. He's dealing with brain problems. He's got concussions. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't even know. He has no idea. They're just throwing him out there. Go ahead, Jared. Please buy me tickets for your big event, please.
Yeah, that's a rational decision making.
No, it's like it's like Raging Bull. Have you ever seen Raging Bull when they start having him go out there and just talk at his bar or whatever, and he's just saying the most craziest shit ever? That's how they're treating Jared Gordon. They're just pushing him out there.
I'm going Marco Madsen. You convinced me.
Mark Madsen.
Going with Jared Gordon here. You guys are fools. You're damn fools. And Marco Madsen, yeah, he's an Olympian in Greco-Roman. That's like getting your black belt with your Happy Meal. It doesn't mean anything, okay? To quote the great Chael P. So, with that being said...
To quote me, I'm the one who told you that Greco-Roman don't mean shit, boy.
You didn't say that? When did you say that?
Guys who can't qualify for freestyle, go to Greco-Roman. Greco-Roman is wrestling without using your legs, boys. You're not allowed to do leg attacks. You do throws. It's all upper body wrestling.
Well, I never heard you say that. I never heard you say that. Yeah, Jared Gordon, he's way more of an actual fighter, an actual ruthless guy. I think I've said this breakdown before for a Marco Madsen fight. He's not a fighter. He's a wrestler. He's surprised us once or twice in the past, but lightning will not strike twice at Madison Square Garden, not at the home of Jared Gordon. I had to completely like put invisible earmuffs on during what you guys were talking about with Jared Gordon and his past, okay? This is a good man who's overcome a lot more than you guys ever will, so shut your damn mouths. Let's move on to the next fight. Jared Gordon's going to take this.
Some would say people who don't get addicted to drugs overcome it.
Oh, my God. Stop.
Some people would say.
This is legitimately awful. Awful words.
I'm just saying, some people who don't take the temptation of the beast are sometimes the most disciplined people of all time. But we can get to the next fight, just so we don't dig ourselves into too much of a grave here. We got Mateus Rebecki versus Nuryo Aliev. Dan.
Mateus Rebecki is going to get the dub. He is a favorite here. According to my stats, I have about 3 underdogs already selected. As we know, lucky number to every UFC card, about 11 fights and up, there's 3 dogs. I already got my 3. Mateusz Rebecki is a favorite. He's a pretty good fighter. This other guy is a UFC debutant. Where does Rebecki hail from? This is actually a big...
Well, Dan, I'll
is he
answer
Polish?
that.
Just tell me, is he Polish?
I'll answer that question with a question. Why wasn't Jesus born in Poland?
I don't want to answer that.
They couldn't find 3 wise men.
Oh,
that's a dad joke. That's a dad joke.
We're both Polish.
We're both Polish.
Yes, I thought he was Polish. I am correct. New York City, very Polish area. That's why he's on the card. He's going to get the job done. I'm hearkening back to my New York City Polish roots, summoning all that strength into Mateusz Rebecki. Get it done, Mateusz. Let's go.
Dan, how many Polish does it take to screw in a light bulb?
How many?
They still haven't figured it out yet. They put all their best men on it, too. That's the worst part. I'm going to go with the Tajik Eagle here. This is an Eagle, guys. Go Birds. It's bird season. Although the birds aren't as good as this guy, like beating Rafi Alves in your first fight in the UFC, that's pretty impressive. Yes, it was a majority decision. You got a first-round finish in the Contender Series. I'm going with the Tajik Eagle heel. He's the younger fighter. He's the better fighter. And Mateusz Rebecki, he is a Rabisti, as he calls himself. But I just think that the Tajik Eagle will win this one. Luke, what do you think?
I think it's a mega episode because we just crossed over the 2-hour mark. So you're welcome, YouTube audience. Please like and subscribe. Give us a comment. Join that gosh darn comb club if you want to see us go through a fine-tooth comb of UFC Sao Paulo this Saturday. And I'm on one right now, guys. I'm lit as a cricket in the moonlight with his finger on a witch's tit. That's how lit I am, okay? And it's Halloween season, spooky season, so get into that Patreon because I'm going to have a lot to say. And Monday Night Football is a dud tonight, so we might go a little long. Go over to that Patreon, subscribe.
We're going long because we didn't give the Patreon audience an episode last week. We got to go long today.
Go long. So get in there. If you like the show so far, this is a mega episode. I really feel we're on fire today. I'm in my zone, and I'm taking Mateusz Rebecki as well, guys. He did a great job so far in the UFC. They already talked all about it. Is a boy versus a man. The Tajik Eagle is going to get his first loss. That's that. Dennis Buzukja versus Jamal Emmers. Jamal Emmers, pretty boy Jamal, but that loss to Pat Sabatini, they put them on the same card. I love when the UFC does this. It's such great parody. It's such great little glimpses into who these guys are for guys who bet, for guys who handicap, for guys who look at these fights and want to know who's better, who's worse. It's good to see them compete on the same night, on the same schedule. It's really great. I love the UFC matchmakers. Hunter Campbell, you're the man. Sean Shelby, you're the man. Dana White, you're the man. Never retire. Dennis Buzukja is great. He is going to be coming out of that Longo Weidman camp. He lost to Sean Woodson. I think that was a short notice fight. Alex, check me on that. But I think it's a good fight. He's going to be 8 years younger. I love him. He's 8 years younger. I don't like the reach advantages and the height advantages.
Shut that fucking dog up, Dan.
What? He doesn't, I like the height and reach Jamal Emmers has. He doesn't use it well. Didn't use it well against Pat Sabatini. I don't think he'll use it well here. I think Buzukja is a better striker than Pat Sabatini. I think he probably has a great ground game, knowing he's from the Mid-Atlantic region. He's out there at Longo Weidman, MMA. Give me Dennis Buzukja. But I like Jamal Emmers.
No. Don't funk with my heart, okay? I went with Dennis Buzukja on the last fight with Sean Woodson. An easy layup of a fight, if you ask me. You give me a guy like Sean Woodson out of there and around. Guy doesn't know a lick about wrestling. Guy's a boxer. Guy doesn't know his ass from his elbow. Dennis Buzukja, he doesn't know that, training from Sarah Longo, you don't have to do all the Longo. You could do some of the Sarah as well. He gassed early. Yes, he was a short minute replacement. But
the fourth opponent that they brought in, Sean Woodson, was originally scheduled to fight Marion Santos, then Jesse Butler, then Steve Garcia, the aforementioned one, Nifty Steve, that knocked out Chase Hooper.
The third opponent, Luis Saldana, was a split decision draw. But the third opponent was Denis Buzukja. And, they're struggling to find Sean Woods in a fight, in all honesty. Maybe he's a little tougher than I expected, but I look at him like the transverse of Chase Hooper, like where he's long, lanky, weird. It looks like something that you would see in an alien horror film, but they do the opposite things. I thought Denis Buzukja would win that fight, but I'm gonna go with Jamal Emmers here. Jamal Emmers won his last fight against Jack Jenkins, and although he lost to Pat Sabatini, I think Jamal Emmers is a sleeping dragon in this division, and he won that last fight against Jack Jenkins. He won the fight against Giga Chikadze. I just don't understand why this guy doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. He could easily, if a couple decisions go his way, the split decision against Giga Chikadze. Where did Giga Chikadze go from there? Split decision against Jack Jenkins. Where'd he go? Broke his damn arm against Chepe Mariscal. This guy should be fighting top 15 opponents. He's going to dismantle Denis Buzukja. He's going to absolutely destroy him. I'm not sure of the wrestling credentials of Buzukja, but I know that Jamal Emmers is way underrated. So if you guys are giving me plus money on a Jamal Emmers just because he's from a different city, I'm taking that to the bank easily.
Jamal Emmers easily going to win. Freak athlete, wrestling background, striking's coming along. Going to have a nice little reach advantage here. Don't care, like Alex said, about the the hometown feel or whatever. That only works for Jared Gordon. It's not going to work for the Buzukja here. We're going with Jamal Emmers, and we're going comfortably. I don't even think he is an underdog here. I got him at minus 360. So Vegas thinks he's going to win. I think he's going to win. It's a short shot bet. We're going with Jamal Emmers.
I mean, that basically tells me it's going to be a split decision loss for Jamal Emmers, though, honestly. Like, we're going to be watching the fight and be like, Jamal is winning this fight, and then we're going to get robbed on a split for the other gentleman. Because that's how I felt about every single one of Jamal Emmers' losses, except for the time he got submitted in the first round. So that makes me actually a little bit more nervous, considering he's that big of a favorite. But
he'll get it done.
I'm still confident. And worst case scenario, if you're fucking fire through the first 4 picks, hedge against Jamal Emmers if he's that big of a favorite. But next up, we got Nazim Sadykhov versus Vladisław Borshchev.
Let me get this one first. Borshchev has not proven yet that he could stop the takedown. What's this gentleman's name? I'm already forgetting it. Why am I drawing a blank?
Nazim Sadykhov.
Nazim Sadykhov.
Black Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's a stud. This is a Cerro Longo guy who, they have actually high hopes for. It's not like the Buzukja fellow. This guy destroys Terrence McKinney, wipes out Evan Elder. He's looking like a world beater in there, coming off of 6 straight finishes, a couple submissions, couple knockouts here. I like this guy a lot, and the wrestling is going to be there all day and night. Again, Borshchev can't stop the takedown. Easy money.
Dan, I couldn't agree more. I'm going to go with Nazim Sadykhov as well. I have no faith in this Russian's takedown defense. And he's from a wrestling academy, which is Team Alpha Male, who prioritizes wrestling and the guillotine. Yeah. So it makes it really tough to pick against him just because another guy's going to wrestle, because you have some hope in your heart that Uriah Faber stuck something in his head telling him to start wrestling a little more. Make sure that about this, about that, not just a liver strike. I think Nazim Sadykhov deserves the minus 360 line that they gave Emmers, but Emmers in that position loses a split decision. Sadykhov is going to win this fight.
I agree 100%. Trophy certified, the Black Wolf. Super impressed by him so far, and home field advantage a little bit there. I know people say it's a disadvantage, and it definitely can be at times, but New York's got a great energy, and if he's not doing what Jared Gordon's doing and buying tickets for his whole family and literally showing up just to pay taxes, then that's. I mean, imagine you buy tickets, you pay taxes on the tickets, you pay taxes to the city, you pay union fees to the venue, you pay state taxes, then you pay federal taxes. So Jared Gordon is getting hit fucking by taxes, right? 4 ways: the tickets that he bought, then the city's taxing him, the state's taxing him, and then he's getting a union hit or something from the venue itself. And if he's not, the UFC is, and that means they can't pay him as much as they would otherwise can. So that means that he is. So then you got inflation. Then you got the fact that even to be in New York City, there's tolls. Then you got the fact that anything he buys in New York City is taxed. I mean, guys, are we living like they had me dressed up like a fireman singing Lee Greenwood's "I'm Proud to Be an American" when I was in 1st grade or 2nd grade. It's like, that's North Korean level shit, guys. And if I had protested, and you think in 2002 or 2001, they wouldn't have set my little ass 9-year-old, 10-year-old ass to fucking Gitmo, you're out of your mind. Think about the climate of the times. Think about it. If you didn't have an American flag on your front lawn and you refused to dress up like a fireman and sing Lee Greenwood's "I'm Proud to Be
Or a yellow ribbon
to support our troops, if you didn't do those things, guys, if you refused, they would have sent me to Guantanamo Bay. So I don't want to live in North Korea. Let's get our heads together. Okay. So,
Next up, hottie fight. Who are you taking?
I just want to say I coined the term Vladislav Boris fraud because we thought maybe he could wrestle in his first fight, and he obviously is a kickboxer who never even thought to learn how to wrestle, even though he has more V's in his name than any fucking Val, and he's got
That's when D1 Jacase was born
as a coach, and he decides just to ignore wrestling and get taken down by a one Mark Jacase from a country who doesn't even contest wrestling.
D1 Jacase.
D1 Jacase. Granted, he's got his Congolese roots, I believe, so it's like it's kind of like Ngannou. It's like, well, Ngannou's never boxed. It's like Ngannou's dad was like a champion boxer in an organization that was probably a lot tougher than any of these fucking organizations put on by Bob Arum. You know what I mean? Like, his dad was boxing like the toughest guys in the village. You know what I mean?
It's like if my dad was fought 100 Thai boxing matches in Thailand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, except Thai people weigh 145 pounds, and I think the guys Francis Ngannou's dad were boxing looked like Francis.
100%. But if my dad was from Thailand, he would probably be 145 pounds as well. No.
It's apples and oranges. All right.
Next up, we got a hottie fight.
It's Kiwi and Starfruit. Listen, the hottie fight, I don't know. It's neither. What are you talking about?
Tabitha Ricci is the baddest chick in the UFC, if you ask me. I mean,
yeah, I'm definitely smitten by Tabitha Ricci, and Lupita Godinez, I will say I'm also smitten by. So you were right about this. These are two ladies who I'm very high on.
For different reasons. Tabitha Ricci is a girl you can take to a nice steakhouse. Lupita Godinez is a girl you take to an Applebee's, and she beats up 3 of the girls in there and is a maniac.
Yes, and I knew Lupita was going to stomp out Elise Reed, and if Erin Blanchfield is the pride of New Jersey, Elise Reed is the stain of New Jersey. Tabitha Ricci, again, another overrated fighter in the UFC, Jillian Robertson. She's got all these stats. Lynn Thomas is in love with her. I knew that Tabitha Ricci was going to smoke her, and she did. You give me Tabitha Ricci here, more professional. I think that her loss is a better loss, even though she got finished. It's her only loss, and it was her first fight, I think, in the UFC, that knockout to Manon Fiorot. Whereas Lupita, if you
last-minute replacement too, Luke.
If I put you in there against fucking old lady Angela Hill, like they tell tales about Angela Hill. They say, "Oh, old lady Hill up on the mountain over there, like don't go trick or treating at her house. You'll never come out. The last kid that went there never came out. Like she's like an old witch, of the UFC." And you go in there and you disappoint against Angela Hill, who's got no wrestling, and you can't take her down, and you're the wrestling girl. That's very disappointing for me. It's very hard to forgive. Whereas you put Ricci in similar situations, put her against Jessica Panay. She smokes her. Old lady smokes her. And like you said, Alex Fiorot, that was her debut. Debutantes lose at a rate of 66% or more.
Short notice too. And I think
Short
the only
notice.
reason she got that was because her training partner, Mackenzie Dern, was also on the card.
This fight's going to come down to who shows up feeling better and in the better shape. It almost guaranteed goes to decision, but if one of them is having a bad night, and I more so mean Lukey, I think she could be the one to get finished by submission. That being said, I think Tabitha Ricci wins by decision. But it's really one of those, it's like a lot of these lady fights. I believe Tabitha Ricci is the better fighter. If they're going to put her at minus 500, that's insulting. Lupita Godinez is very, very, very good. I don't know what the odds are in this one, but I think it should be pretty much a pick 'em. And I think the edge is that Tabitha Ricci is a better fighter. Watch the weigh-ins, watch the mentality, make sure these girls are showing up hydrated and not sick. And the person who shows up better on the day, it could come down to the walkout. It could come down to who's more fired up in the walkout, who looks better in the cage. And I think that person wins. But all things equal, I give it to Ricci.
I think the opposite. I think Lupita Godinez comes out there full of piss and vinegar, gets mad at her opponents, drains herself out quick. That only works to Tabitha Ricci's advantage, the Baby Shark. I think the Baby Shark could finish this quick or finish it in the third round. It's either first or third, maybe second. But I think Tabitha Ricci finishes this fight by submission.
Tabitha Ricci may have only one loss, but after this fight, she's going to OnlyFans. Yeah, I said it. I said it.
That's
right.
Cut me out of here. Cut me out of here.
My girl, Lupita Godinez, is going to be dropping some hammers with that wrestling. And the striking is way better. Tabitha Ricci is very sloppy on the feet. Yeah, not that good. Not that good at all. Lupita Godinez is tougher. She's got better hands. She's got better wrestling. Maybe
when it comes to the wrestling, when it comes to them getting in the wrestling ring, there's nothing up there. They're all oatmeal north of the eyebrows. They're all.
You're going to rely on wrestling. You think wrestling is going to get it? Okay. Her name's Baby Shark for a reason. You ever hear the quote? You started taking jiu-jitsu this month. I'm sure someone's told you this quote. The ground is my water, and I am a shark. And most people, they cannot even swim.
Haven't heard that yet.
Oh, well, you'll have a T-shirt that has that on it for your birthday. I got you. But isn't your birthday in October?
Yeah, it already happened.
When was your birthday? I forgot it.
Well, I don't want to dox myself. But it was the 19th. It was the 19th. It's fine. I don't care.
God damn it. I'm sorry for your birthday.
Hey,
well, it's really up to Laura to remind me. And she did last year. She threw a party. But 31, I mean, you don't really get.
Yeah.
I'll edit that.
It's not worth the mention. 31.
I don't even want to think about being 31.
Dude, it's great. It's great. I tell people all the time, if you're 29, right? Say someone just turned 29, and I actually have a friend who did. You are older than me because here's why, okay? The biological difference of 2 years, especially for two young men, is nothing. It doesn't mean anything. So the only real difference in age is disposition. You being 29 and in the late stage of your 20s feels a lot worse than me being in the beginning, the zeros, the aughts, the ones of my 30s. So it's all about disposition. If there's no biological difference, it's all about disposition. So I, therefore, am younger than a 29-year-old. Make sense?
Yeah, I love it. Makes complete sense.
Thank you.
So you're going with this 2 hours is one too long for the show, everybody. And by that I just mean I'm fading the show. We have 2 more breakdowns to do, and by fading I mean I'm getting to the place where I have to watch what I say, but on the Patreon I do not. So if you get over to that Patreon, you'll be able to hear the re-breakdown, the re-break, the compound fracture, the fine-tooth comb run through of UFC South Olive. But for now,
I love my shadow going on here. I feel like I'm deep from the Watergate investigations here. I'm a shadowy figure. I can say whatever I want.
It's way better.
Nobody knows who I am.
Next we got Steve Brule's favorite fighter, Kang, man name of Kang. Kang versus John Castañeda. You know, Mr. Perfect submitted Christian Quinones in his last fight. I had Christian Quinones. I'll be the first to say it. He beat back Benel Garal. I believe I picked Mr. Perfect there. But he lost to Honey Yaya, right? And we always fade Honey Yaya over on this side. Win Gaffarov beat beat the shit out of John Castañeda, but John Castañeda got the decision win. It was a barn-burning brawl 4 months ago they had. I'm going with John Castañeda. I know you can throw this guy into the fucking fire. He's going to fucking come out unscathed. And he's a little shorter. He's a little sacrificing a little bit of reach, but the type of fight he's going to want to get in, Sexy Mexi's going to push through, put it all on Mr. Perfect. He's 36 now. It's going to be his 10th loss for Mr. Perfect. I'm fading Mr. Perfect here hard. Too old, too many wins in a row for how old he is. Destined to lose soon. And I saw what, granted, Muin Gafurov found the one way to lose quick against Tagir Ulanbekov. He fucking fed him the guillotine. That was a bad look, but he's a better fighter, Muin Gafurov, than people give him credit. Castañeda fought him in the way he would prefer to fight and still found a way to beat him. So give me Sexy Mexi.
Yeah, Luke, you're back on the correct answer train. We're going from one Sexy Mexi to another. John Castañeda, Kang, pretty good at everything, not great at anything. Also, kind of makes some boneheaded decisions in there. I think the Sexy Mexi and his cardio and his toughness, that's all it's going to take to make this guy make a mistake, Mr. Kang. And I see it's tough to call a knockout with the little guys, but I'm thinking a violent finish here from Mr. John Castañeda. I like this guy a lot. I know he's had some rocky moments here in the UFC, but he's on the come up. Skills pay the bills, baby. You can't lie with the skills, and he's got them. So I'm liking my boy here.
Sorry about that. Yeah, this is a tough one because John Castañeda's lost to some pretty stiff competition, as well as Kang. But if you look at the wins that Kang has, none of these fellas are in the UFC anymore. Shimuchi Shimuzo, Mikorani Takana, Guido Canetti. He might be in the UFC, but is on the edge. Turatu Asharara, Brandon Davis, Ping Gayong Liu, Betragol, Dana, and then Christian Quinones. That might be the only person besides Guido Canetti still in the UFC since this guy's tenure. I'm going to roll with John Castañeda. Although he doesn't have the most dazzling record either, I think the Willie Cat's good. I think Nathaniel Wood's good. And even more, I think that the guys he beat are good. Miles Johns, Muin Gafurov, and Marcelo Rojo, even before he got to the UFC, unless this is somebody else. No, Marcelo Rojo is not good. Sorry, did not mean to list him. But regardless, these guys that he has beaten are better than the guys that Kang has beaten, just based on the fact that, Eddie Wineland, he was a UFC namestay, and Sean O'Malley made his bread off him. Miles Johns, he's still in the UFC. He's still kicking. He's still great. Muin Gafurov, he's better than, like Luke said, better than what people say he is. I'm going to go with John Castañeda here. Triple P certified.
You love Sexy Mexi. We got Steve Erceg, a.k.a. Astro Boy, coming off that decision win 3 months ago against David Dvorak. Back in, he's Perth, Australia, 28 years old, 125-pounder, taking on Alessandro Costa.
No.
So Costa, you'll remember, lost his debut against Amir Albazi. And let's go take a look at that one. Was that a short notice fight? Because I know Albazi, nobody will fight Albazi.
Nobody wants to fight Albazi
But
at the very least.
and Albazi's going to be fighting for the title soon. People forget. He's sleeping right now, but he's the dormant incumbent.
Yes. There were 2 pullouts before that.
How the fuck did I know?
Alex Turbo Perez, right? Did I get it right that time? We always get Turbo Perez wrong. Is it Alex Turbo Perez? Please tell me. No, it's just Alex Perez. Fuck! And then
But yeah,
Brandon
so-
Royval also pulled out in this
I'll
fight.
forgive the knockout loss to Amir Albazi 10 months ago. The KO winning against Jimmy Flick is suspect because Jimmy retired and came back, right?
And that fight was on super short notice. Brandon Royval and Alex Perez, the artist formerly named as Turbo, pulled out of that fight, and he stepped in on short notice, lasted 3 rounds with Amir Albazi. If I remember that fight correctly, I think he had his moments in that. I think in the first round, it was looking a little grim for Amir Albazi, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. No odds for this one yet. What do you think? What should the line be?
I think that it's probably going to be in Astro Boy's favor because he also stunned us against David Dvorak. You got to think, like, David Dvorak, he broke his friend's face on a excavator. He was swinging him around in the lake, and David Dvorak, he smashed his friend's face.
I don't like those LA hype house guys, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but David Dvorak, he trains, though. That's the thing. Like, you got to know that David Dvorak, he also, but when he's not breaking his friend's faces on
Bryce
excavator.
Hall fought bare knuckle.
But Bryce Hall
Bryce
beat the
Hall's a
shit.
beast. Why is somebody talking about Bryce Hall? He's a beast. Doing bare knuckle.
Bryce Hall's trying to get that Logan fight next.
Knuckle, dude. Bare knuckle's cooler.
Bryce Hall's trying to get that Logan fight next. Let's not forget that. He was calling Logan and KSI. Bad move? I think you know, he goes out there and he just
Gotta be
beats
bare
him.
knuckle though. Bryce, bring him into your world, dude. You gotta bring him into your world, bare knuckle.
Yeah, because he is 0-2 as a boxer, but in bare knuckle, he is
But
officially the baddest man on the planet, besides
All right,
Mike
well, listen,
Perry.
this
I'm
guy-
going with Steve Erceg, because this is also a short notice replacement for Alessandro Costa. I don't know who he pissed off. I don't know which one of the UFC bosses said to him, no, you don't talk to that woman at the casino. No. That's how he got the nickname. He is going to get beat. Steve Erceg really surprised a lot of us with that David Dvorak win, and I'm pretty sure that was on short notice as well. And we looked at this nerd-looking Astro Boy, and yeah, David Dvorak was supposed to fight Matt Schnell. What's the difference between these guys? When one guy fights on short notice, he wins. The other guy, he fights on short notice, he loses. Granted, it was to Amir Albazi, but Steve Erceg came in there and fought David Dvorak, the Undertaker, gave him his 3rd straight loss in the UFC. We thought that was the get right path for the Undertaker.
Bro, here's the thing though. Steve Erceg wins by submission, 6 wins by submission, and 0 losses for Costa. And Costa has 4 wins by knockout. Steve Erceg, Astro Boy. Guess how many knockouts he's got? 1. One little measly knockout against who even fucking knows? Let me see. Paul Loga. 9-7 Paul Loga out of Queensland, Australia, who has been knocked out 3 times.
I don't know. If you ask me, a win against homeboy David Dvorak on short notice, very short notice, compared to
I heard what you
losing,
said. I'm just saying. I'm going
losing to Amir Albazi on short notice and then beating Jimmy the Brick Flick. Jimmy the Brick Flick stinks. So we're pulling all this weight into Costa's repertoire right here. He's coming in on short notice again. What happened last time he was on short notice? He got finished
Now
in
he
the 3rd
knows.
round.
Now he knows to be prepared for short notice. And guess what?
No, he doesn't.
Albazi's a lot better than Erceg. Albazi's a lot better than Erceg. And Albazi's got to fly all the way over from Perth. What's that going to do? It's like a 24-hour fucking time difference.
He's already here.
He's going to be, it's not 24 hours would be fine. It's 12 hours. It's going to be literally a night and day difference. He's also coming from summer in Australia to winter in fucking New York.
I love it, mate. We never really get snow down there
Actually,
in
fall.
Bath.
Fall's a lot harder. There's a lot of dander, debris in the air. He's coming to New York. New York is a weird place to be. It's if I brought you to New York and wanted you to act normal, you'd start getting a little weird, like on me in a day.
What do you mean?
Tight spaces, a lot of people, expensive things, hard to travel, sketchy vibes.
Well, you know I'm a country boy.
Expensive things. You don't know anything about that, Alex.
No,
it's-
it's because Luke knows I'm a
Okay,
country
Dan,
boy.
Work with me here. You drive into New York City, you pay the tolls, you park your car for $45 a day.
Never. You
Come
take
into
the
my
train.
apartment, then I take
Never.
you out to get food. So now you're $45 for the parking. Now you got now we
No,
just got
no.
pizza and beers. So now you're 45 more out the hole for pizza and beers. So now you spent $90 with him being in the city for 6 hours. You're 20 years old. It gets a little fucking much. You know what I mean?
All
Somebody from
mistaken.
Australia,
Luke.
six to show, 6 to win. You know what I mean? And you're like, yeah, I got it, coach. Here's the steak dinner for all of us. And it's like, holy shit, $240 for the steak dinner. It's stressful. It's very stressful.
Luke, no. You have it all wrong. Here's the thing. And clip this part out. Let them know this is New York travel tourist guide. Put this on TikTok. It'll blow up.
Save it for the
You do not drive to New York. You always drive to a train station. You park your car for $6. You take the train up to New York.
So they gotta better keep them receipts.
So they're flying in, so they're not driving.
Because you're an independent contractor. So keep the receipts from LaGuardia to fucking Manhattan and all that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
You fly in, you take an Uber, you get to your hotel.
He's from Perth. Perth is like being from fucking Alabama.
It's nice. We don't really.
His neck's gonna crick from looking up at the skyscrapers.
We usually don't get weather like this down the Empath, so this is actually a really cool time for me.
When somebody takes Steve Erceg to the Bronx Zoo for me and have him pet a fucking python or something, get him sick. What like they do to our fighters when they bring him to fucking pet the marsupials. And on that note, let's go through our full picks. Dan, just give us your pick for this fight while I pull mine up.
Yeah, I'm taking Steve Erceg here. When you are a last-minute fighter, the last thing you want is a weird, unorthodox guy, and that's what Steve Erceg is. Very, very big, very, very lanky for the flyweight division. So for that and that alone, and a very impressive performance in his last bout against Dvorak, who everyone thought was like a fringe top 5 flyweight, everything seems to be pointing to Steve Erceg for me. No line on this yet. We will get that for you good folks as soon as we can. That is it for me and my picks. Would you like me to go through mine, starting us off, Luke?
No, I'll take everybody through mine first.
Okay, go ahead.
Just so I can get them all tipped up. So yeah, I'm going with Alessandro Costa due to the jet lag that Steve Erceg will be facing. Castañeda, Ricci. So John Castañeda, Tabitha Ricci, Nazem Sadykhov, Dennis Buzukja, Mateus Rębecki, Mark Madsen, Kevin Borjas, Benoit Saint-Denis, Diego Lopes, Mackenzie Dern, Sergey Pavlovich, and Yuri Procházka.
All right. If you're rolling with me, I got Steve Erceg from the bottom, John Castañeda, Lupita Godinez, Nazem Sadykhov, Jamal Emmers, Mateus Rębecki, Jared Gordon, Joshua Van, Matt Frevola, Diego Lopes, Mackenzie Dern, Sergey Pavlovich, and Alex Pereira.
If you're rolling with me, from the top, we got Alex Pereira, Sergey Pavlovich, Jessica Andrade, Diego Lopes, Matt Frevola, Joshua Van, Marco Madsen, Nurilo Aliev, Jamal Emmers, Nazem Sadykhov, Tabitha Ricci, John Castañeda, and Steve Erceg. Guys, that sounds like the perfect. No, I did not pick Lukey Godinez.
Oh. Yeah, Alex did too.
So let's go through the triple certified picks for everybody real quick. Sorry, I'm getting them typed up. Trying to make sure I get this correct. I think I have it. Dan, you went with Rębecki. I know that. I know you went with Gordon. So that those are not. I know that Alex went with Van. Did you go with Van or Borjas, Dan?
He went with Van.
Van. Get in the van.
And then, so you both went with Frevola. And then we all got Pav.
All I found out from this show is that Luke loves Blackcock. Dan and I, we're more of Van boys.
I'm sure this episode's going to get a lot of traction on YouTube. YouTube's loving us.
I mean, let's be real. All right, so Pav is Trophy certified. Lopes is Trophy certified. Looks like Sadykhov is Trophy certified and Castañeda is Trophy certified, and that's it. So 4 Trophy certified picks for you guys. And I'm doing a brand new test, right? So we know over year 3 that Trophy certified picks finished 69.99% accurate, 70% accurate for year 3. In year 4, with over 100 Trophy certified picks given, 128 Trophy certified picks given, 86 correct, we are 67% And that's with like Jacob Malkoon losing to Brundage by disqualification, right? So 67% compared to 70%. We're really like right there over now like hundreds and hundreds, a year and a half of triple certified picks. So when I plug 67% into the implied probability calculator, that yields about a break-even point of like minus 190, right? Ish, between 67 and 70. It's like minus 190 range. So my new strategy is I'm looking at profitable triple B certified picks, meaning if our triple B certified picks, the picks all three of us agree on, are batting 70%, or even if we say 67%, minus 200, I'm going to bump that down for profit's sake to about minus 165, right? So minus 165 or better. If it's triple B certified at that rate, that's my strike point. Now, Pavlovich is a +1 something underdog. So that's, of course, a strike-worthy triple B certified pick for me. I'm going to be betting him solo, and I'm going to be doing this experiment where I'm going to just use my rubric. If it's a triple B certified pick that meets the strike-worthy criteria of the implied probability odds, I bet it as a solo bet. I'm doing it with a $1,000 bankroll, and I'm going to put, just the money line, essentially $100 or the money line on each of these picks. If I bust out, I guess it didn't work. I mean, maybe I should start with a smaller unit size, but I trust these picks, and for the most part, I want to see what happens. So I got 2 of them that I've actually already placed solo bets on for this Saturday that are triple B certified that meet the criteria. If you want to stick around and see exactly which ones they are, join the Comb Club.
We need the Discord power rankings before we go.
Let's go.
Are you ready? Number 1, I got Devin, constant contributor on the show. Love you, Devin. Always in there putting in good shit. Second, we have all right, this is a close one. This is a very close one. I'm going with Cowboy on this one. He gave us a good update. He told us somebody pulled out David Onama, in fact. So you want that breakdown, you come on to the Comb Club, patreon.com/perfect parlay pursuit. After that, Nickerson, VCR Repairman, and 24K BLK. That is the top 5 this week. Go, run, tell your friends, get in the Discord if you want to show up.
Thank you all. The link for the Discord is in the bio. The link for the Patreon Comb Club is in the bio. We got another episode coming your way. Let's get it. Thanks, everybody, and